Whoa! It's 9:24. It's almost I'm almost starting on time, technically, for me anyway. So it's the boom. Cheech will be along, I'm sure, later. I think Pete's out. I think he's got something going on. Anthony said he'd be on later. Yeah. So how's it going, boys?
It's going.
Yeah, it's all right.
Keith's busy playing Far Cry 5, so he can't really pay attention to anybody right now.
Right.
So, anything new, everybody? Anyone?
I'm playing Far Cry 5. That's new.
Yeah. You must did you pre-order or download Steam or something like that, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I did Steam download. Pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I just I thought maybe I should go and play it on my PC, but then I wanted to play it on my big screen TV. So, and I know technically I could port from my laptop to to the screen, but I didn't want to bother with that. So I just got it for my PlayStation. Just whatever.
Mine's on PC because I can play it anywhere. I don't have to be tied to the TV.
Yeah.
Well, is your PC like implanted in your brain?
No, it's a laptop.
I understand that, but your laptop, it's just such a small screen. That's what I don't like about it.
But even foot in front of me at 17 inches, it's huge. So
no, that's what she said. But yeah, well, whatever. It is, as they say, what it is. So
remember what you said. That never is good.
No, it never is. My wife actually said the other day. She said because I was complaining about something, and she's like, "Well, that sucks." And I was like, "Yeah, well, it's fine." And she's like, "That's like the new. It is what it is for you. Just me. It's fine. Just whatever. It's fine."
Yeah.
I don't know. Anybody got anything new? Anything exciting? Anything fun?
But this is it for me. I haven't played any board games in a while because I had to miss my last meeting because I went to Chicago.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been to beer mongers in a while either.
Last thing I played was Azul, I think.
I played a I haven't played a lot of Explore It, so because I recently did a review. Can't even talk. Just did a video for that. I really enjoyed the original one, the Valley of the Dead King, and this one's the Forests of Adramon. It's just like a really good, crawl around in a big giant wilderness setting and see how much trouble you can get into fantasy world type of game. So it was good. I liked it. Enjoyable. But yeah, I mean, I was at a convention, a local convention here in town, and man, they're trying. I'll say that. I mean, but yeah, it was kind of. I don't know. It was not a good thing. It was like, oh, we want you to do all these panels, and like the panels turned up to me and like 3 other people in a room just all talking about games and stuff. It wasn't like a panel. It was just like, and so they were like completely totally non-events. I mean, it's just it's a local scene type of thing, and it's just it was one of those things where I got the impression it was just basically a couple of guys who thought, hey, this is really cool if we all got together on a weekend and played games, and let's see if we can get other people to show up and do it too. I felt bad for anybody who paid them any sort of money for a vendor space because, yeah, I mean, maybe they had 75 attendees. I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, it was just meh. I can't describe how meh it was. But like they did have one cool thing. There was this guy that had like almost every single like retro game system. So like Neo Geo and like an Atari Jaguar and stuff like that. And he had them set up, and he had like basically a big giant conference room, and he had tons of TVs, and he had them all set up, and you could just go in there and play. And then like he actually, he had like the cartridges and stuff, but he had like the cartridges were in the machines were like the ones that had all the games on them. Like if you know what I'm talking about, like the hacked ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just have the big ROM chip in there that has all the games, so you could just play any. You could just go and sit down in front of a Super Nintendo and play all the Super Nintendo games. So you could, play all the Neo Geo things and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. I mean, I spent a couple hours in there just kind of reminiscing and playing old games and stuff like that. Playing old PlayStation 1 games I hadn't played in, forever. So that was kind of fun. And then I was reminded about just how hideous the graphics were.
Oh yeah, they don't hold up.
No, they do not hold up at all. So there's that then. But I mean, and I was like, there's nobody in here. Why isn't there anybody in here? This is actually kind of cool. And there was just like there was a couple of guys who had VR sets, like the HTC Vive. And my daughter really dug that. She played some VR games. And if you haven't done a VR like an HTC Vive, and if you think you can handle the any kind of possible motion sickness or anything like that from it, it is really cool. I mean, it's kind of, the whole process of the fact that like depending upon the games you play or whatever, when you put your hands in front of you, you see your hands in front of you, but they aren't like your hands, and there's a little bit of a weird out of body experience thing going on with it, and it's pretty awesome, but I don't think it's like whatever it is to get an HTC Vive now. It's like $650 or something like that. It's not that awesome.
Yeah. More than that, you need a computer and all that too.
Well, I mean, like Keith's laptop probably could run it.
Yeah, mine's VR capable.
Yeah. So I mean,
I've never tried it.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely cool. The games are all kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's like they're all kind of like weirdly the same thing, right? It's just like, oh, it's you walking around and like shooting stuff, or it's you walking around and shooting an arrow at stuff, or I mean, it's like they seem to be kind of I don't know. They haven't tapped the potential of it, in my opinion.
They've got Fallout 4 for it now, which I think might be cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that might be kind of neat. I mean, my son did it, and he just did the drawing thing, where he was just drawing big giant pictures on a fake wall and like walking through them and having fun with it. That he had a blast. I mean, he thought that was super awesome. So I mean, but it's definitely not. I mean, people are going to get bored of drawing on invisible walls eventually too.
How much more can you really do with VR other than that, or the first person shooter type thing? I mean, I
don't know. There's a game out there that like is kind of like I've seen videos of people playing it, but it's like basically each hand has a lightsaber, and it's kind of like
Guitar Hero thing.
Guitar Hero, yeah, and that looks kind of neat. I mean, I'd be horrible at it because I have no, timing. But I mean, it's kind of like I suppose if you got really good at it, that would be kind of cool. When I played it, there was a boxing game. There was like, kind of like, basically a Super Punch Out or Mike Tyson's Punch Out game that basically you punched, and you actually had to like, dip and duck and dive and yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You can only use that before, like my fetish would have a heart attack or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's
in infancy. I'm curious to see where it's going, but
yeah, I mean, it can only go up, right? So
or disappear, one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, we're gonna have. I mean, they've definitely tried to do VR games for a while now, so I think. Oh, excuse me. I think they're kind of starting to figure it out. the big thing is that like, and I don't know how they'll ever do this, but they need to do something where like if you grab something, like there's got to be like a pressure sensor or something in the glove or whatever
They
to make it.
do.
Well, I know
they could do that pretty easily.
They do it with vibration technology, like when you grab something, the controller will vibrate a little bit to give you the sensation of resistance. They do that on Oculus already, and I know that they're working on something now with one of the mixed reality sets that's going to have something that's going to give a forced feedback type thing as well when you grab stuff.
No. Well, there you go.
I figured to get more into it with like like the Dungeons and Dragons or something.
Well, and like I've always said, it's just like I can't believe that with like how excited people are for Pokemon Go. Why hasn't somebody come up with a like can you imagine playing Pokemon Go as like playing Dungeons and Dragons, like walking around and fighting monsters and stuff like that? Who wouldn't play that? That would be cool.
They're starting to really push the technology for the VR stuff, and they've actually got a kind of like a semi MMO already available for VR, where you can progress your character and run through adventures with people and stuff. And there's actually an experience where you sit in a tavern talking about your experiences with other people, and you can have a bar fight and stuff. They're starting to come around. There's a huge lineup of VR games coming out in the next 6 to 8 months that are going to really push the envelope for what the technology is capable of. Matter of fact, Skyrim VR comes out on the 3rd, and it's going to be the full version of Skyrim in a completely virtual reality world, all 200 plus hours of gameplay. And they already have Fallout VR, and Fallout VR is the full version of Fallout 4, and it's gotten really good reviews. So they're getting there. Full-fledged titles are coming more than just these little apps and experiences.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm just such a curmudgeon. I don't know. I just, but I mean, that was just that convention was just, I appreciate what they were trying to do, but it was bad.
What convention is this? I missed the beginning of the conversation.
Oh, it was just this little local convention here, and they're trying. I mean, they're trying to put something together and have a good time. And it's just like, but it's just I mean, they're kind of swimming uphill right now. So I mean, and that's cool though. I mean, the people want to do that stuff, right? I mean, it's just I don't know, just.
They all can't be Gen Con lions.
Well, thank God.
Thank God for that.
Is this the first year?
I got all my hotel rooms moved downtown, by the way.
No, you did, huh?
Yep. Well, yeah, except most of them are suites and they're twice the price. But it's a good start.
Well, do you know who I am? Is that how you did it?
Now, whose lower half did you have to massage to get that deal?
It's just waiting list. I mean, it's like kind of waiting.
They don't care about
that's better than 25 miles away or whatever the hell.
If you got a suite, I can sleep in your closet then.
Yeah. Start renting out space, Aldi, make up some of that money.
Keith, man, if you want to do some BGG stuff, man, let's talk.
All right, talk to me later.
All right.
Let's see.
I don't want you having to drive home every night.
And I want a body and make you work. So
that's right. It's a good exchange, right?
There you go.
Anyway,
what are you guys up to?
I don't know.
Play Far Cry 5 while we talk.
Oh yeah, that game's awesome. I put in several hours last night. You got cheeseburger?
I got cheeseburger.
I has cheeseburger.
Yeah, I don't know. I Far Cry games, like I'll play them but I have to play them in little tiny chunks. I just get bored. It's like, okay, go and fight these guys again. Okay, hey, another pickup truck full of idiots who want to kill me.
Oh god,
okay.
the roads are super deadly in this thing. Like I've had the most ridiculous emergent shitstorm come on me just by walking down the road.
Yeah, so a
helicopter will come and a truck will come and a van and then like 5 guys on a whatever.
I like 5 Guys. They've got good fries.
5 Guys.
Yeah. No, so that's one of those things where it's like I'm always just like, ugh, it's like, okay, I got to go talk to this guy and like save him or whatever, so he'll join my little club, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, like, oh, I'm dead, and I walked halfway there, and now I'm back to where I am, and my car isn't there anymore because I took it the last time I was here, and I'm just gonna turn this.
That's what helicopters are for, buddy.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, then I feel like I'm missing out. The whole point of the game is supposed to look nice, but if I'm just going, I mean, it's like, I feel like I'm missing part of the game. I don't know. Like I said,
long for me has passed between the last one for me to be excited about it.
I absorb those like slowly and surely.
I played the crap out of the one where you're like that douchey guy that gets beat up in a club or gets knocked out in the club and gets captured. You know that, I forget what number that is. 3? Not the primal one, but
3 was the one where you could actually like kill your girlfriend and then like have sex with the girl who then
the other girl.
Yeah, and then
that's our story.
Yeah, like because you decide if you sacrifice you have to decide if you sacrifice your girlfriend, and if you do, then the leader of the cult like has sex with you and kills you, and then that's the end of the game.
Yes. Good family program.
Spoiler.
Nice wholesome game.
Oh, it's rough. It's rough. There's a lot of weird.
And then, but Far Cry 4 was the one that if you just sat at the table, because at the very beginning you go through the opening sequence and your half brother says, and you hear a guy getting tortured, and he sits at the table and he says, I need to go check on something because there's a guy screaming. Please just sit here, and when I get back, we'll take care of everything. And if you don't actually get up off the table and you sit there, 10 minutes later he comes back in the room. You and him get on a helicopter. You're able to put your mother's ashes on the grave, which is what your whole goal was. And he turns over control of the country to him, and he flies away. And then the game ends. So if you literally do exactly what the guy tells you to, you win the game. You don't have to fight anybody. You don't have to shoot anybody. You just sit there and wait.
Those are fun.
So
I never do what I'm supposed to in those games.
No, it's like, hey, go here. Nope, I'm gonna head this way.
No, I go this the other way. But then I end up like breaking and have time of restarting it. So.
Well, what I always end up doing in those games is that I do so many weird side missions and stuff like that. By the time I get around to a story mission, I'm so buffed up. I'm like, okay, so then they're like, all right, there's 2 guys here. It's like, just like, okay, what's the next mission? And then you blast through like 10 story missions, and you're just like, well, this was dumb. Just like what? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I'm leveling up really quickly in this game, but maybe that's the point.
Yeah, I mean,
give me all my toys. Give me all the toys early so I can play with them.
I am like severely annoyed that the Ubisoft just has that constant presence of like, hey, go online. Here, buy stuff. Go play the Ubisoft arcade. Go do this. It's like
bars.
I walked into that one thing and it's like, oh, there's an arcade machine. I'm like, this is cool. Maybe there's a little arcade game I can play. This will be kind of fun. No, it takes me online and wants me to play Ubisoft Arcade and like go play other people on. Like, no, I'm out. See you later.
Like, it's like the arcades where people can create maps and upload them, and then you can go play them.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. You put an arcade machine. But they put an arcade machine there. It looks like I can play a little arcade game, and you actually click on it and it says insert coin. I'm like, yeah, I'll play Chopper Command or whatever this is. No, it's just a lie to get me to go online and like try to get me to do something.
Well, that is the new thing this one has, is it's got co-op that you can play on the game itself.
Do they have special missions for it, or is it all?
No, you just whoever's game you join, they'll progress their story. It doesn't progress yours if you're joined, but it'll progress the host story basically. And you just go in and cause destruction together.
If I wanted to play a co-op, I'll play a board game.
Come play PUBG with me.
No, I don't want to go play PUBG.
PUBG is fun. You'd like it.
Awesome, man.
If I want to shoot people, I'll play Team Fortress 2 because it just doesn't get any better than that.
Close to the same.
TF2 is the bomb, baby.
20 years ago.
It's still amazing.
I haven't touched it in 20 years.
I love TF2.
Quake 2.
The awesome thing about when I first logged in to play Team Fortress 2 was, so I remember when Team Fortress was the mod for Quake, and I played the crap out of that, and I just constantly, and so then, but then of course, like I didn't play it anymore just because nobody played TF or whatever. And they always talked about the fact that they were going to come out with a Team Fortress 2. Like it was like this thing that was going to come out, but it never did. It never got created. So when it finally did come out, and I picked up the orange box, which was Half-Life 2, Team Fortress 2, and something else. I can't remember. The third, Portal. So it was just called the orange box. And I didn't play Half-Life. I may have played Portal for like 10 minutes, and I got into Team Fortress 2 and I started playing it. And the weird thing is as soon as I started playing Team Fortress 2, even though, and the first time I played the two towers with the bridge in the middle, and the whole thing, of like, I started playing that, the two fort, even though it was totally updated graphics and everything else, it like. I immediately zoned back in, and I knew exactly where I needed to go. Like, even though like everything was highly stylized, it was done like the original, and it was done really, really well. And I was like, demo man, let's do this. And I was I never left, just throwing grenades and sticky bombs everywhere, having a blast. It was good. So Team Fortress 2, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, but I don't know. Yes,
I played a Kickstarter game last weekend. It's awesome. I love it.
What Kickstarter game?
It's called The City of Kings. Have you heard of it yet? Or did you do a preview for it?
I've heard of it. I did not do anything with it though.
It's pretty solid. It's super hard, which I love. So we played it 3 times in a row, and we got beat each time. And it's kind of funny. Only the first time when we really didn't know what we were doing is the furthest we made it to the boss. And then we get killed. And then we're like, oh, let's do it again. And then we died like within like maybe half an hour. And then the next time we just basically figured like, oh, we're going to lose. Let's just stop. But it's really cool. It's a neat little kind of explore the world, turn over tiles, fight monsters. There's a scenario. There's quests, get experience. And the characters have pretty good depth to them, as far as like special abilities and stuff. It was really neat. So unfortunately, they didn't print enough to put in stores, so they're doing another Kickstarter. I don't know when. They announced it though. But it's neat. I mean, I was surprised to like it after a fantasy co-op after Gloomhaven. I mean, it has no dungeon crawl part to it. It's more of an overworld type map, but it definitely is fun.
I still get to play Gloomhaven. Still sitting in the box.
Oh my god!
I opened the box.
Gotta bust that sucker out, man.
Me too. Haven't had a chance to play.
Oh my god! You guys haven't played it? Oh my god! Come on.
Well, you can only do so many games in a month, and I've got a group that's playing Charterstone, a group that plays TI4 once a month. So we're kind of waiting to finish up Charterstone before we start Gloomhaven.
Yeah,
Who has time? Who has time to play all these games?
11 and 12.
Yeah, I only get a couple days a month to actually.
I'm just doing one day a week.
I should, but I don't. I never end up having that one day. I try to make it one day. Like I just got all my Star Wars Legion stuff put together, and I'm excited to play that. But I know it'll sit for 3 weeks before I actually get a game in.
Oh yeah, so you post that picture of watching Empire and,
yeah,
and glue, Empire and Super Glue.
It was a good night. Good night. It's been a long time since I put a model together. I was very rusty.
Are they hard to put together?
No, they aren't. They aren't at all, actually.
They're not hard for someone who knows what they're doing, but I could see how somebody who's never done it before would have problems. Like I used to put miniatures together back in the day, so I had some knowledge, but I could see how somebody right off the shelf, not realizing that this was a game you had to put the stuff together, would be like, what the hell? Because those speeder bikes have tiny little pieces that have to be just fit in perfectly, or else they won't be right. And those were a big pain in the butt. But on a scale to 1 to 10, it's way low compared to like a Games Workshop game.
Yeah. Although I think Games Workshops are pretty good to put together, like easy. The modern ones, anyway. Like they make it.
Don't even get me started. It really depends on the model, but some of them are.
Yeah, what did I do?
Even the most recent, I used to think that too. Like, oh, the new ones, but like the new like Marathi model, which is basically this giant like Medusa woman. Like there is like a couple of pieces that you feel like you're breaking it when you put it together because you kind of have to wedge it into like a spot. And you have to like kind of it stinks.
Crunch it down.
Yeah. The thing about those models that drive me crazy is that I'm always like, I can't decide. Do I need to like paint this before I put it together, or do I put it together? Do I paint it afterwards? And like you're trying to figure out if something's gonna be blocking, and then if you're gonna have like an arm that's over a certain spot, and you're gonna have to wedge like a paintbrush in there. And then like you don't wanna you want to put it together, so you have the model put together, but then like, oh, I need to paint it. But then if you don't paint it all at once, then like where are you gonna put the pieces, and what if you lose a piece? And I don't know. There's so many things that are very
trials and tribulations of a mini painter.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
I remember that. I mean, I haven't done it in like 15 years.
It's really
I remember.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm not.
Now I don't give a shit. Like, I'll just
put
paint
it together. I'll get someone to paint it for me.
Well, why would you? Come on, you could paint the Stormtroopers easy. I mean,
I could, but I don't have time. I'm barely going to get a chance to play it. Like, why would I want to waste the 2 or 3 nights I'd get to actually play the game painting it?
I don't know.
No, I got a guy who said he's painted it for me.
Less middle-aged.
I'll give him names and.
I got a guy.
Yeah, I got 4 guys actually. I got 4 guys that do painting for me. I give them each a different project every month.
I need to find a guy.
No, I mean,
if
you don't mind me asking, what do they charge to like do like an army for you?
Well, my one guy down in Florida, when I get a Kickstarter, I buy 2, and 1 goes to him, and then he paints mine for me for buying him his Kickstarter. So any of the stuff like for Zombicide, for instance, I'll buy 2, I'll back 2 and give him 1, and then he'll paint mine for me. That's kind of the deal I have with him, and he does all my big miniature Kickstarters that I have. And I got a couple local guys that'll do just regular box games. Like if it's got under 20 miniatures, they'll usually do it either for a game or for like $50. So I outsource all that locally. So.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like I always want to do it myself, right? I mean, I kind of have this weird mentality where it's like, because then when you do it, then you can say, look at that, that's what I did right there.
I used to be like that. I painted an entire Clan War army, Crab Clan War army myself. It was the first time I ever really painted, and I got 3 or 4 months into painting that, and I was super proud of it, but I just don't have time now. There's a lot of work. You're involved in the putting together the models, the cleaning them, priming them, letting them dry overnight, painting them. I mean, with my schedule now, I'm lucky to get 2 or 3 days a month that I actually get to play board games. And if I started hobbying, I basically wouldn't play games anymore.
No, fair enough.
And no, Charles, the guy in Florida is a friend of mine from my old game group. Rob has painted stuff for me, but that's not the guy I'm talking to about the stuff I'm doing tonight.
So what is in this world of Smog? I got like 15 boxes of stuff. It's ridiculously massive amount of crap. I mean, and each one is heavy. It's not just like 3 miniatures in a box. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm like,
yeah, there's a ton of stuff. There's a lot of expansion content and add-on content for that. I haven't got mine yet. I got tracking on my Smog just the other day, so I won't even have it for a couple days. But there was a ton of stuff in that Kickstarter.
It really was. I mean, it's and that box is dense, man. It's heavy. They're all heavy.
There are a lot of cards too. It's heavy. There are a lot of thick cardboard cards. So yeah.
Well, I have no idea anything about the game. I need to just give it a go.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. It's just picture like a dystopian, steampunk kind of world that you're basically battling together. It's co-op, so you're going to be fighting
it's
against
co-op?
the game. It's going to be kind of like a
BGG. I need to fix that.
yeah, it's a Descent style game where you're going through missions and stuff and trying to accomplish things together.
Cool.
But it's in a really cool, unique world from the original game. They took the universe and just expanded upon it, and they did a good job with it. The mechanics are pretty brutal, though. It's definitely not your easy run of the mill game. You're gonna
Cool.
hit a wall on
That's
that
good.
one.
I'm gonna give it a go.
Must be nice to be the $90 million man. Just order shit, don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Back, you just back CMON stuff. I mean, it's just automatic, right? Hate
I don't
doing
actually. I haven't
No.
in a while. I just don't get them at the table.
I'm buying it for the
Yeah.
library.
Oh
That's your excuse all the time.
They're all going in the library, guys.
So, like, is every single game you back goes in the library? You don't
Not
keep
every
anything
single
for your
thing.
personal?
If I do something I really want, like I'll get two.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I know you.
But
back
eventually, it's going in the library or give it away or sold or something. But because I just don't have room anymore, I got nothing. I'm like at zero. I'm at negative room. I got crap on the floor, which I hate.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I had the floods, right? Like, I almost had another flood last weekend because I fixed the toilet and I forgot the water was not turned off all the way. Like it was, when you pull that line off the side, the fill line, it was trickling water at such a slow rate. I didn't notice it. I'm like, oh, it's off. And then I come back an hour later and the floor is covered in water. I'm like, fuck, I almost had another flood.
Make sure you turn
That's
the
all I
water
need.
off, Aldi.
Anyway, I put it in a bucket because I didn't have the right part to fix it. So I was like, I'm not going to put it back together until I have the part.
Yeah.
Minor.
Actually, thinking about replacing.
So, but there's games on the floor again, which fucking drives me nuts.
I just got some boxes to get rid of mine. I tried it locally. They're not going quick enough.
Yeah. Well, I need to make a deposit down to the library. That's what happens.
Is that what you're calling it now?
Deposit to the library?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of.
Huh.
Did I tell you guys what I'm doing at Spring? BG Spring?
No.
I don't think any. I mean, I don't want this to be like a selling point, so I'm not advertising it too much. But well, here you go, all dozens of viewers, 27 of you, maybe if you're coming to BG Spring. I'm taking about 1,000 games off the shelves and like putting them in a room and selling everything for $5 to $10. No haggling, just $5 to $10.
I can't do it. I can't go. It'll.
I know.
Because I will come home.
You'll come home with like 30 games. So I think I haven't looked at all the games yet. We're just gonna blast it all there, and then I'm gonna pull out the $100 games.
Yeah, I wish I had a button bar. I'm gonna blast it all there.
We're shipping it all to the hotel, and then I'm just gonna cherry pick what is $100 or around that. But there will definitely be some good games in there. No question. The library is stock full. I mean, it's massive.
And what are you actually trimming? Are you trimming like duplicate and triplicate copies of stuff? Or are you actually getting
it's usually like some games we only have one of in the library, and then anything that's old and we have two of one went in storage. Or if it's like an old game that no one's gonna play, or most likely nobody's gonna play, we put it all in storage because that makes room on the shelves. We have to prune it every year because we're adding over 1,000 games a year.
Yeah, you'd be probably more than that with the rate that the stuff gets pumped out. So
we have 5,000 in storage, 6,000 on the shelves, and I have 3,000 in my house.
Wow,
it's fucking unreal. And so now I got to get rid of 1,000 games a year because there's nowhere. You pull 1,000 off the shelves, right? I don't have any more storage space unless I build a warehouse, which very possibly might happen just for other reasons.
Wow.
But or rent a warehouse or some warehouse.
Are you going to be more selective then with what you back and what stuff you pick up, just in order to maybe help alleviate the problem, or are you just going to still?
I like seeing everything. I like seeing all the games, even if I never play them, I like to look at them.
Do you ever play them? Do you ever just go down to the warehouse and say, "We're going to play this"?
No. I've got enough stuff here, Barry. Honestly,
I mean like older stuff. Yeah.
Older stuff that I really like to play is here in my house, like my core games I love. I have a bigger collection than Jason, but I'm not gonna go up against him on the Guinness stuff. Jason Levine. Let him do all the work. It's a ton of work to get the Guinness record. Oh my God, he's telling me about it the other day. Really ridiculous.
That's the reason he did it.
Is that what he's trying to do? He's just trying to get the Guinness Book of World Records.
The guy who's currently got it is all the games that are like It's American style old trashy games, right?
Yeah.
Where he probably has over 5,000 in his house. The problem is you have to do it in public. You have to do the counting in public. I believe you have to videotape the whole entire thing or record it. And you have to have at least one or two experts on hand to verify that everything is actually a board game.
What's the record?
I don't remember. It's not that high.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I just got rid of like 600 games, and I've still probably got, I've still got too many. So, I mean, I
think the record's in the 3,000 range or something like that. And I think Jason's beating it with
1,531.
That's it.
That's it. I had.
Here's the deal. It costs a lot of money to do it, and you got to do all that work.
Yeah.
I mean, just let Jason Levine do it. We'll all support him. He's a nice guy.
Well, here's the deal. Like Andy Anderson, who sounds like a made up name, but he's like one of the nicest guys in the whole wide world. He lives in Michigan. He's a retired pharmaceutical rep, and he's got a house in the middle of nowhere in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I've been to his house twice. He's got 3,000 games, easy, and probably more, because he's got a game room on the top floor of this freaking mansion that he lives in. That room alone is probably 800 square feet, easily. And the walls are custom made shelves, all from top to bottom. We're talking 12-foot high ceilings, and they're custom made, and it's plumb full. And then downstairs, he turned his entire basement into storage for the rest of his games, and that is the same deal. He basically gutted the basement, took out all the walls, took out everything, and then same thing, custom made shelving, his entire basement, and that's when I was there, he had basically one small little from top to bottom maybe 8-foot wide section that didn't have any games into it. I mean, he's got 3,000-4,000 games in his house.
Yeah, I mean, between me and Jason, we're not even close to the largest. I know a couple in Colorado that has. The last time I asked them, they had 14,000 in the house.
That just seems like a waste to me.
14,000.
You'll never.
No, I mean they're collectors, right? They're awesome. I mean, they have everything. They buy everything.
It still seems like a waste. I mean, what's the point of having them? Even if you're a collector, I mean, what do you do with a board game? You look at the cover. I don't.
Well, I mean, you're a collector.
The
reason you have it is to collect.
It's a feeling you get. Yeah. Remember a time when that game meant something to you, and you can. At least for me, a lot of them are.
I'm not a junkie like you guys. Yeah.
We're stupid.
Nah, I wouldn't say that. Just junkies.
Well, like the 600 games.
You got older games. Yeah.
The 600 games that I got rid of were easy cuts. It was just gone. And now I'm doing I had to go through the maybes, and now it's tough. It is I'm.
You're getting down to your babies.
Yeah, but the thing is I have 1,000 babies, and that's dumb. I mean these are why. It's I better keep colonialism from Spielworks, even though the game's horseshit. Why? Well, because I have all the other Spielworks games. I don't want to break up the set. That's a dumb reason.
I do that too.
Yeah,
I do that with freaking what's it? The company that only brings out one game a year.
Slaughter.
No, not that. No, not them.
The Frago Brothers.
Wonder.
You have to buy all the Days of Wonder games because
I've got all the Days of Wonder games.
There's
four I'll never play again, but I won't get rid of them because I'm trying to keep the set complete.
I missed out on that Mystery Train, not Mystery Express, I think it was, and I had to track that down after it was out of print.
You didn't miss anything. You did.
I know. I did as a collector, as a person who collects series and things. Do you collect, Keith? I can't remember. Do you get rid of your stuff?
I'll get rid of stuff eventually. I mean, I would say I collect from the standpoint of I have a bunch of crap I don't play, but I've kind of cut way back because I spent money on other stuff. Because I stopped buying expansion for games I'm not playing unless I really love the game. Because I was thinking every expansion for a game and not play it. But
For the couple dozen people that are watching this live and for watches for if you care, finally our after like forever our Orleans and Yokohama reprint finally hit our warehouse today. I thank God. No, like the standard versions because they've been out of print for a while now.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're happy about that.
How long did it take to reprint them?
It didn't take long at all. It was just the fact that we had to wait for our print runs. Yeah, well, Chinese New Year, and plus it was like we were waiting on a Flow of History to get done so we could ship it all together.
All at once. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and save some money. And so now, and if you back Flow of History, you now like Europe's already good, but US, you should be getting it very, very soon if you haven't already. So.
Yeah, I saw the letter today. You got Amazon straightened out.
Well, they didn't like our ISBN number that we had for it for some reason. Like it wasn't valid or something, so they wouldn't have put it into their system.
I think I remember that.
But we got it fixed. So
sometimes with these ISBN errors on PGG.
I mean that just stinks. But I mean it's not much we can do. You know, like I guess next time we can just say, well, let's not go with them, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Go with Amazon?
We'll not go with them as being our fulfillment. Yeah.
Oh, fulfillment.
Yeah. So
but how would you fulfill it otherwise? Funnigan's gone now.
Yeah. Well, no, I got 2 things in the mail from Funnigan today.
Yeah, but they're finishing up their obligations and then they're shutting it down, right?
Yeah, I tried to get a hold of Jeff the other day just to ask him what happened, but he didn't. He didn't answer his phone. So,
is it the store or just a fulfillment section?
I don't know. I mean, I would think why wouldn't
online and fulfillment services?
I don't know. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, his 2 stores, but why wouldn't you keep doing the fulfillment? I mean, it seems like that would be a way to make decent money. I mean, just like maybe he doesn't want to pay for the warehouse anymore or something.
Yeah, it might not be as profitable
as it used to be. Giving too much away is not easy, simple money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard the stories. They're not great stories.
Well, I mean, Ship Naked still does it, and I've heard a lot of people say that they're really good, but then they have a stigma because they're attached to Dan Arrington.
Cool Stuff has one. Or I don't know if it's Cool Stuff related, but it's Jerry.
Yeah, and his is called QML. Yeah, Quartermaster Logistics. Yeah.
They're still there. And then, some of the distributors will do it. But it's definitely now trying to just imagine what it's like to be a Kickstarter now with all of the people trying to fulfill, which is basically like 10 times as much as it was when it first started. Like, it's a fucking nightmare.
Well, I would think that if you wanted to tackle it, it'd be a way that like you can make some money. I mean, I guess that's my personal opinion.
I don't quick, simple money.
You're not quick, simple money.
I'm just telling you, do not start a company.
You should do it. You should do it. That would give you an excuse to have a warehouse.
God, no. We have hard enough time sending one little piece of cardboard in an envelope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hard. We that's all I want to do is send one card in an envelope. That's easy.
But you just bought all them cubes.
Dude.
But you have an excuse, like I said, you'd have an excuse to have a you'd have an excuse to have a warehouse then.
I already have an excuse to have a warehouse.
One that'll be
another warehouse. So let me ask you this: if you're let's say you're the Gloomhaven fulfillment partner, which was fun to get in this situation, right?
Yeah.
And you had to ship what do you end up selling, like 50,000-60,000?
I don't remember what the number was. It wasn't a small amount, but yes.
So 50,000-60,000. That's how many do you put in a container? How many do you?
Are you saying fulfilling Gloomhaven put them out of business?
No, but I'm just telling you what problems you can have as a fulfiller that you may not anticipate the first day of work. Oh, let's say those containers are not put on, the games are not put on pallets. What do you do then? They're bottom loaded, right? Where the games are placed onto the pallet or into the container by hand, right? Like one by one, and they're stacked up. Well, all the people who the Chinese people paid to put it in there have to be paid in America to take them out, which, the wage laborers are not the same. It's China versus America. And then what do you do then? and like that's thousands of dollars of labor costs that you had not anticipated, right? That could be a problem.
Yeah. Or you just get a
Now
pizza
multiply
party.
that times 15 containers. I don't know how many come in a container, but I would imagine like 1,000, 2,000.
The size of the game, yeah, you're not getting as many as you.
Yeah, then you, yeah. And then multiply that times how many different people are you working in the industry and what their experience levels are with shipping and like making sure that China sends the right thing. And
yeah,
it's like a nightmare to me. Really does. Unless you're like specifically cut out for that kind of project management and logistics. Forget it. Anyway, I can understand why they might shut down.
my brother would probably be pretty good at that.
If you're good at maintaining a warehouse and you have a logic system and logistics system and everybody follows it.
Yeah, well, that's what he did in the army.
Or maybe if there's penalties built in, if you send me a container that's not pallet stacked, you have to pay me $1,000 penalty so I can hire guys or people to unload it by hand.
Yeah, I'm sure the
and then if you send that bill to the Kickstarter creator who's like already cash poor because they barely made it by with the skin of their teeth, and you send them $1,000 bill, you're gonna be like, "What? I don't have any money." So you just eat it.
Yeah.
I could see why you would want to not keep doing that kind of company.
Yeah,
I can understand.
Anyway. Yeah, that was one of the things we discussed at my meh convention that I went to. Was like, like what is possible? Like, what's what I'm looking for here? Like, what bold predictions for like 5 years from now? And one of the things that I said was,
warehouses filled with cardboard.
No, I said in 5 years or less, there basically will be 3 places to buy board games online. It'll be Miniature Market, Cool Stuff, and Amazon, and those are the only 3 that'll be really exist. There might be like some weird fringe ones, but like,
yeah. What else is there? There's like
Game Surplus, sort of, maybe. You know,
Game Surplus, yeah.
I think, yeah, you might be right.
Why do you think them companies
it's so hard to stay in business as an online retailer? You got to cut you cut out all your profit. And by the way, shipping goes up every year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Shipping.
How do you make any money?
Yeah.
What I don't understand is so here's the thing. Like every week, like I get an email or a text from eBay that's like, hey, for like the next 6 hours, take an extra 15 or 25% off whatever you find. Anything on eBay. Yeah.
I need one of those.
So it's like, oh, well, like, so now I don't buy any of my GW stuff. I just wait for me to get that email or my text. And then like, if there's something, because there's tons of people that sell GW stuff, free shipping on eBay. And
right.
they put it at 15% off because that's the maximum percentage that they can legally that they can show. So then like, oh, take another 25% off of that, so I can actually buy GW stuff at like, I guess, more reasonable prices, and like I can get models for like more reasonable prices and order it through them. And I'm assuming eBay just pays the seller the extra money.
Yeah, eBay eats that because you can't expect a seller to follow with a 10, 15, 20%.
So I mean, but I'm like, what? How is this helping eBay in any way? It's like, I was wondering. It's like okay, so I mean, admittedly, they get some money for the transaction off the top.
It's customer acquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I won't. I mean, okay, I'm probably the minority. I'm the person who doesn't buy anything unless I get that little coupon or whatever.
Yeah, you're probably a minority on that.
Yeah, I just got one of those last week. Actually, I got a 15% off. That's the first time I've ever even seen one, and I've been on eBay for 15 years.
Yeah, they've been doing it for like the last like 3 months straight. Like once a week, you'll get something.
So we run affiliate sales through eBay, like with our eBay module, and it really surprised me how many games are getting sold on eBay, like thousands.
Really?
Well, that's because all the people that wanted to have their own game store that's how they do it now, because they don't have to have a website, they don't have to do any of that, and then they just,
they get all their games at wholesale price. They put everything else up on eBay at 30% off. They make a profit,
and
they don't have to store it.
And the vast majority of those people that do that
is what's killing the board game industry people.
Well, the vast majority of people that do that, they got into it so they could get cheap board games. It's just like I know of two people in Fargo that do that.
Have stores.
Yeah,
stores.
Like who they have a store.
Larry, his other brother Larry's.
Yeah.
Larry's barbecue restaurant and game store.
Like one of them was called J&J Games and Toys, and then the other one was I forget what the other one was called. And the J&J people, and they got done. They weren't going to do anymore. But the J&J people are like because they were in West Fargo, which is the town right next to Fargo. Like when I was looking for my copy of Arkham Horror, the game that got me into this hobby like 10, 11 years ago now, I was like looking for the cheapest price I could find online. And I was like, holy cow, this person's located in West Fargo. Like I was like sitting there and like
pick it up.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have to have it. And I sent them an email and like, I was like, can I just come over and get it? And they're like, yeah, come on over. And I drove over to this person's house in West Fargo, and
he has the game standing for you at the front door.
Yeah, just
handing them out.
He was like,
great.
It was just like, I think back then it was like, I think I paid like $29 and some change for it, and it was just like, because that was back when whatever was, it was probably a $50 game, and it was, 40% off. And I think he charged me $1 handling fee, because he had to go to his warehouse to get it,
Yeah, his house, yeah.
Yeah, and so then I drove over and wrote him a check back when you wrote checks for things, and
I still have to write checks for things. Stupid.
I used to, but then I literally the last thing that I had to write checks for, they like my power company. Like as far as there's like the electricity and there's gas, and the gas company finally has auto pay. Like they just didn't have auto pay, so like literally it was like the last thing I had a check for. I would like, and I was like, I'd always like have a reason to like go into that section of town. I go and I just drop it in their slot and get it done. But then they finally, because they did have auto pay, but they charge you $5 to use it. And I was like, well, screw that. I'm not giving you $5. I mean,
check.
Yeah. So I just wrote, but they finally got rid of that fee, and I set it up, and now I'm check free. It's
that reminds me, I gotta find my checkbook.
Yeah,
I have one a year for the campground. That's the only thing I use a check for. Where the fuck did I put it?
Remember balancing a checkbook? Like what did I write out? What did I pay for? Trying to figure out, what's my balance now?
They stressed how important that was going to be for me, and then everything changed like within 5 years. But I still remember having to take a math class that was all about balancing checkbooks.
I remember doing that.
It's good to learn. You could use it in other parts of life.
I remember. So here's the. So this is a crazy story. So my 7th grade algebra teacher was a guy by the name of Mr. Moen, and that was one of the things we had to learn. First, I don't know how algebra was balancing a checkbook, but it was also like life lessons, like here, this is how you balance a checkbook and stuff like that. And so I remember we sat there and we did that. Now that doesn't really matter one way or the other about Mr. Moen or anything, about the fact that he taught me, but I can still picture that guy in my head, and like Mr. Moen when later on when I was a freshman in high school. I found, get upstairs, you stupid dog. When I was a freshman in high school, Mr. Moen was arrested for molesting a teenager that he was teaching, and it was like one of these things where it was like literally like she was the babysitter, and he and her and she was like whatever it was, like what's 8th grade, 14. So yeah, this guy was married, had 2 kids, and was this, and there was like, and here's the thing, everybody knew who it was, the girl, but of course, like the name is hidden, but everybody knew. So it was like the secret that nobody ever said. And so it was just kind of like that weird thing where it's like you kind of would like you're going to high school and this girl was like later on she was like a star basketball player and stuff like that.
Balancing a checkbook.
Just because
It's a child molestation from
whenever I write a check.
Oh, pops in your head.
I think about balancing a checkbook, and then I think about this Mr. Moan guy, and this horrible human being that last I heard he legally changed his name and moved away. Just like
when you're a sex offender, didn't it follow you even through name changes?
Well, I think it does, but I mean, he was gone, vanished.
You don't know Lance by now, Aldi?
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to
you go through the great uncle of the uncle, the friend of the uncle, and then you get back to the checkbook eventually. Come on, Aldi.
Yeah. So every time I write on a check, I would think of this horrible human being that taught me, and who was actually a really nice guy as far as being a teacher. Little did I know that he was
that's how he lured you in.
Little did I know he was this awful human being that preyed upon this poor girl. But what do you do? I don't know.
Oh, what are we talking about?
I have no
idea anymore.
No, but before that was something interesting, and then I kind of.
Well, we were talking earlier this week. We had that little and I felt stupid that I got sucked into it. But we had that Twitter chain about classic old computer games, and we were talking about those for a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought about actually booting up an emulator and finding some of those, but then I realized that they probably didn't age well, and I would just be mad.
Best old game ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Which one? I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Meier's Pirates.
Oh, Sid Meier's.
Do you remember they were going to make Do you remember they were going to make the Pirates board game from?
So I can tell you a story about that.
Yeah, Glenn Drover, right?
Yeah. So
I think you told the story, but anyway, go ahead.
I 2 years ago or so, I went to Glenn Drover's house in Chicago. The guy is so nice, and and his family's so amazing. And we were sitting there talking, and he mentioned, he was just I was yeah, whatever, because he was talking about the Firaxis games and things like that. Oh, and I learned a new anecdote about the Pirates game, but here I'll talk about that. And he's and I said, I was so upset that we never played that game or whatever. That game never came out. And he said, it's upstairs. And I was like, well, go get it. He's like, no. I said, why? Because it's horrible. Because it isn't any fun. And I was just oh, okay. And he said that actually they had talked to the designer of Merchants and Marauders, and a lot of the stuff they worked on got the good stuff got kind of swallowed
good
up.
Stuff in Merchant? I have never played Merchants and Marauders. Is it
It's too long. The game lasts way too long. That I'll say this one thing about Merchants and Marauders is that a variant that I suggested on BGG, the designer of the game actually that's his official. He actually incorporated that in the game. Like he said, that's a good rule. So I was actually pretty proud of that.
Positive on BGG now, Lance.
What?
There's something positive that you did on BGG now, Lance.
No. So
you just gave me a positive feedback on BGG where it's always constantly negative.
Yeah, now this was whatever it was 6-7 years ago.
Oh yeah, those are the old days.
But I suggested because one of the things that stinks about that game is that if somebody just wants to be a trader, not traitor, but trader, DER. They can leave a port and then move quickly into another port. And there was a rule that basically you couldn't attack a ship that was in a port. And so people could earn a lot of prestige and gold just by staying in ports and okay, I'm going to grab this good and I'm going to move over to this one and nobody can get me because I'm just popping. So if you were playing as a pirate and going the fun route, you couldn't stop this person from doing that. So one of the things you get to do on your turn is if you're in a spot, you get to search the area for booty, basically search for a ship that you can loot. And so I suggested that if somebody wants to, they can park right outside the port, and so when somebody leaves it, they can give up one of their they can make a search check to try to catch that person and try to attack their ship. but they give up one of their searches for when their turn comes up.
I think
And
that's
he was-
an actual rule book now.
Yeah, and so because that's how
Right?
that's how we played it, and I think his name is Christian Markuson, I think, and the designer, and he said that actually works really well, and he said, you know, do you mind if I use that? And I was like, yeah, go ahead, that's awesome. So cool. As far as I know, that was like one thing I did.
Credit too.
Yeah, I should get it. You better give me the game designer badge for
for one rule.
The one rule.
Someday I'm gonna put the developer tag in there, and then I'm gonna regret.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. No, no. So the other thing I was gonna say about the Pirates thing.
Do it, though.
So I ended up talking.
The hell is that?
It was a thunderstorm, wasn't it?
That was my dog doing something dumb upstairs.
Oh.
So no, I'll tell the story, and I gotta go check real quick. But basically, he said that the like remember that horrible dancing mini game in the last version of Pirates.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like horrible. Nobody liked it, right?
Yes.
Glenn Drover, who was at that time working with Firaxis and stuff, they didn't want it. But there was some guy, and I forget the guy's name. There was some guy who was a big fan of Baroque music, and like from that time period, he wanted a reason why there should be like a Baroque music mini game within the game, and he basically and he was high enough up that he just he ham-fisted it into part of the game, and so then they put it in there, and then the guy played the game, and he was like, this is horrible. He's like, we shouldn't have put this in. And they were like, yeah, that's what we were telling you the entire time, you know? And so, but yeah, that's
sometimes when you're in charge, you might, you can't see your own shit, right?
Yeah.
You can't smell it.
Yeah. It's like that, the classic old, Dilbert cartoon where he's talking to the boss and he goes, well, here's the design. And he's like, what's that button there? And he's like, well, when you never showed up for any of the meetings except for one, and then you wanted that added on there because you wanted to basically take credit for adding incentive or adding something to the design process. He's like, well, I don't like it. Get rid of it. It's only on your copy.
Dilbert.
Will you go get your dog from under the couch now?
I don't know what happened.
Dog is trapped. The china cabinet came down on top of it.
Poor dog.
Is Anthony actually there?
I'm here.
Oh, hey.
I said hello before, but no one listened to me.
Well, your mic is messed up. Maybe that's why.
That's fine.
Heard it.
Yeah.
You gotta do that.
Freaking up.
Unplug and plug it back in thing.
True about anything.
So, what other classic video games do you guys like?
Pong.
Pong.
Did you play Pong in the arcade?
Yes, I'm that old.
Wow.
That's impressive. What about Space War? You ever play Space War?
Space Wars, yes, I remember that one.
That was awesome. With 50 keys for your guy. And it's like a keyboard in the arcade. Because it had left, right, thrust, fire, hyperspace. Had 5 or 6 keys per player. Each player had their own keyboard. So, where I grew up, we had putt-putt and an arcade. It was in a castle. So the castle was the arcade, and I just have this indelible memory of, as a kid, just going to that arcade and just being blown away by everything. But it was all the games that weren't digital. Do you guys remember those? Like the stupid shotgun game with the light.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's racing games that didn't have any digital. It was all plastic overlay kind of stuff. Or
yeah, I remember those.
So where you guys grew up, did they have video games in candy stores and bodegas?
Only place I ever saw them as a kid growing up were pizza shops would have them, and then there would be an arcade in the mall somewhere. That's the only place I ever saw them down where I lived.
We would have
Kroger
had one.
Yeah, I used to go to had Joust. And I used to play the hell out of that when
In
I was
convenience stores, yeah, a couple convenience stores may have had a couple games, and maybe the movie theater, but it wasn't many. It wasn't many. The movie
Remember-
theater did have a small arcade. I do remember playing. I remember playing Spy Hunter and Yi Kung Fu and a couple other games like that there.
Yeah, we had they called them candy stores here, but they sell like candy and like egg creams and newspapers and cigarettes. It's not really a full bodega, but that's what these were. And they always have like one or two machines. And then once you got really good at something, then they'd switch the machine out and you had to put
Swap
something
it
new.
Yeah. There was a really cool place that I used to go to. It used to be like a $5 all play thing. So you just come in, give them $5, and you could go in and you give you a wristband and you just play all day. He had everything set to free play. It was awesome. I used to love that place. Then when that closed down, it was a sad day.
Yeah.
I spent many an hour in the bowling alley.
A couple bars.
Like my dad bowled, and I would get $5 to play.
Yep, that was the same with my mom.
All
We
night.
used to play the hell out of like Terminator 2 pinball.
Yeah.
People lined up, put your quarter up.
Yeah,
My quarters are up. I'm next.
with lots of cigarette burns on this stupid thing because
Yeah.
people put their cigarette on the edge of it. I'm trying to think of what game I would play to maximize my time. You know, like because you're gonna lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Double Dragon, man. I could play the
Double
entire
Dragon.
game on a quarter.
Mm. Yeah, that
It's
one
always a
wasn't too
lot of
bad.
time.
Double Dragon.
But you learned how to elbow punch.
Mhm.
There's the secret to Double Dragon.
I remember waiting for like an hour to play like Asteroids or something. You know, because the quarters were just like all the way across the bottom of the thing.
Hmm.
And I finally get my turn, and I'm dead in like 2 minutes. Like all 3 chips gone.
The key with asteroids is you got to know how to get out of the thrust.
Yeah.
I like
Upper
the finger.
thrusting,
Fine, and you hit
upper
the
thrusting was a skill.
you hit the thrust. You're like, no.
Hyperspace always killed you.
Mm.
No,
Which game?
Asteroids.
Oh yeah.
And then I think I also did. I was too short to kind of see it. But I wanted to play, so it was Asteroids and Space Invaders, and I was horrible. Like you wait an hour to play, and then you play and be done in 3 minutes.
So you asked me if I had played Pong in the actual arcade game. So
Yeah.
the candy store in my neighborhood had Pong, and then it was gone one day, and we were like freaking out. It was like, oh, we're supposed to get something else, and then they got Space Invaders, and it was like the coolest thing ever.
I used to like track and field. That was my jam. I could play that for an hour.
Field was great.
Were you one of the guys that used the pin?
Could you do all 4? Could you use
A
all
butter
4?
knife, butter knife, baby. I'd break world records left and right with a butter knife.
And then they put the guards in so people couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that. I remember the first
Pencil
time I saw
or
one of
something
those
like
cards.
that.
I was pissed.
I had a friend who could play. All 4 fingers.
What?
It was the fastest I'd ever seen it.
Holy crap!
Yeah, where you go like
He had some kind of weird like with his fingers, and it was just.
And then the
like,
ones
world
that
record every time.
that you always wouldn't do well on are like ones that were all timing, like the hammer throw. It was like you had to get it like at that one little pixel at the very end, you know, and hit it just perfectly.
Get it at like a 45 or 40 degree angle and get the speed up to like at least 9 or 10 on
Well,
that.
yeah, but the hammer throw, you hit the button and he just started spinning. You just had to like, you know, because it was like
Release.
woof,
Oh, right.
woof, 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 and then you had to like basically almost just guess, you know, as to when you had to hit the button, and hopefully you'd pick the right time. There was an arcade for the longest time, at near my near my college. You know, it was like this gas station that was called Gas Stop, but they had a little arcade attached to it. And the big thing is they gave you what was something like they gave you 8 tokens for $1. And so like that was like, so you got double tokens or whatever.
Token night.
And at one point, they just kept on adding more and more. Because, like, basically, like, I figured out the guy bought the game, so he wasn't renting them from somewhere. So, like, it was all profit as long as people came in. And so at one point, it was like 20 tokens for $1. And admittedly, the games got beat up and they broke, and, like, half of them stopped working. But, I mean, still, it was like, oh, I can go in there and, you know, pay $1 and, like I can just play a bunch of games, and just like it was, even if a lot of them were kind of garbage, it was still decent. Kids will never know that the arcade.
We actually just got a new barcade in my hometown that me and my wife went to a couple of weekends ago, which was
Is it
what?
unlimited play?
Yeah, it was like $5 cover, or no, it was $10 cover, and it was unlimited play, and it had a bar. It's a Double Dragon barcade, and it had a decent selection. It needed some improvements, but it's a cool business model.
When I was on New Year's Eve, my wife and I went to the Twin Cities, and we found this. If you live in the Minneapolis St. Paul area, there is like it's called like Tilt Bar or Bar Tilt or something like that, and like it was a bar like full. It was a little hole in the wall. Basically, you wouldn't know it was anything worth mentioning if you hadn't seen it. But like full bar, pretty good food, and like 40 pinball games, good pinball games too, like a good selection of like the new stuff and old school classics, and all of them were a quarter, meaning that it wasn't like pay 50 cents for a play or anything like that, just a quarter and you got to play. So that was pretty sweet, just go there and play like brand new pinball games for a quarter each. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know.
Do you guys remember
in Denver? They got a good one called One Up that I visit every time I go to Denver. That it's they have a huge selection of games and good beer.
The hotel at Gamma this year had a nice arcade on the third floor. It had
we went up there a little bit.
Yeah, it had like
cool.
7 or 8 pinball machines, and then a ton of classic video games, and then a bunch of newer ones too. It was pretty cool.
They had the new Star Wars. They had a lot of old stuff, and they were all in good condition.
Yeah, everything looked great. It looked like they were all new or refurbished.
The pinball's tough, right? I mean, because pinball, it's there's so much so much like wear on it because of the fact that it's dexterity based and things like that it tends to and the thing is that like with the pinball club here in town, like I've talked to the guys who run that, and like there's all kinds of weird things that you have to do. Like you need to swap out the pinballs like on a monthly basis, not because they like get chips or anything, but the electricity magnetizes the pinballs. So like if you've played it and if you ever said, oh my gosh, it's like the ball that moves like unnaturally, and they're like, oh, there's magnets in the thing. No, the metal of the ball gets magnetized.
I was wondering about that because I could swear that Doctor Who, man. Shoot me a curveball right down the middle.
So people,
you should go to the Midwest Gaming Classic sometime in Wisconsin. I went there every year for like the last 4 or 5 years, and they've got one of the biggest pinball selections in the country. They got a huge arcade. It's really
I don't know, the Drunken Scotties. I don't see it.
There was something after Gamma in Vegas. Pete, did you remember that? There was some big thing in Vegas after Gamma.
Yeah, the Pinball Hall of Fame is in Vegas, and it's about a 10-minute drive from the Bally's, and they've got over 100 pinball games and then about 20 or 30 classic arcade games.
I've been to that one, but I think there was some big expo right the week after Gamma, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a big arcade expo.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah,
that pinball museum at in Vegas is awesome.
Yeah, it was.
We spent a lot of time in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just about every classic one you could think of was there.
It has all those baseball games too. Do you guys
those were awesome. I played
those. You have to hit the bat.
Yeah. Did you see the one at Reno? They had a really cool baseball one too. It was really nice. I didn't see it. Yeah, it was all the way in the corner, but it was cool. You pull the bat back, and then the ball would swing, and you'd have to get it into one of the spots. And each inning, they changed what was outs, what was singles, doubles, triples, and whatever. So
you couldn't just keep doing the same.
Yeah, you couldn't do the same thing. It was pretty cool.
The one I'm looking at is I was looking at the numbers: 250 pinball machines, and then 100 arcade. And they have people that bring like brand spanking new ones.
Everything, yeah,
all
the good stuff anyway.
Yeah.
And it's all just free play.
A bygone era that some kids will never understand.
Riding bike to the mall,
go into the arcade.
Yeah,
so with my pocket full of quarters, and I've already, and you're actually in my mind. I'm already like I'm figuring out which games I'm gonna play. Okay, when I get there, I'm gonna play Mr. Dude's Castle. And then I'm gonna play Double Dragons, and I better make sure I play Yayar Kung Fu because I can play that for a long time, and I won't,
screw people over on Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, I can beat Dragon's Lair, so make sure I do that once. Yeah.
Good old days. Yep, it's a shame. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's just another one of those things that is not really going to exist anymore.
I have a scar on my cheek because I riding bike home from the mall. And I don't remember any of this because I got even though I was awake the entire time, I don't remember any of it. I remember leaving the mall, and the next thing I know is I woke up, I came to in my parents' living room, and my hands are covered in blood. And my face is just scratched up, and I'm bleeding. And basically, the front wheel of my bike just popped off, and I went right over the top. And first thing that hit the ground was my face, and I don't remember any of it. I had basically my entire face was just basically a scrape, but I woke up and my friends walked because I couldn't ride bike, they walked me to my house, which was still a good mile away. And when they got there, my buddy David Ingberg didn't know what to do because my mother wasn't home, and so he called 911 and they took me to the hospital.
Well, we hope it clears up soon.
Still feeling the effects of it.
The horrible
kids ride their bikes to the malls anymore? Is that a thing?
No.
They
probably call it Uber. They Uber, get a lift. What's sad is that one of the two kids that are there, one of them is no longer alive. But my buddy Mike, he died 3 years later. That's now I just realized that. That sucks. Yeah, sorry.
Thanks for bringing me down.
We
got child molestation. We got.
Macaroni and cheese now reminds him of a colonoscopy.
Sadly, he died of testicular cancer when he was 18.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was my best friend. He was my first friend I made in kindergarten. We were good buddies. And whenever I play a board game that I really like, I always think of Mike.
So now
Mike would always. No. Sometimes, but no, I'm good friends with his younger brother though. So it's kind of weird, and that's why my son's middle name is Michael. I always said if I was gonna have a son, I would give him his middle name would be Michael. So yeah. One of the cool things, if you ever saw the game Space Movers, it was a co-op game, and in the co-op game there was actually a mechanism there where you you rolled, because you rolled 2 10-sideds to do things, and so you roll a 10-sided, and one of the rules was you rolled in the box, and then depending upon what the die was, you then, if you didn't like it, you could take your other die and you could aim it at the other die to hit it, and so you could change the die roll. And whenever we played Marvel Superheroes, the role-playing game, Mike would do that, and he was really good at it. He would roll the 1. And he got so good at it, he'd see what it ended up in kind of a fluid motion. He would roll that one, just kind of barely drop it, and he'd see what it is. And then if he didn't like it, he'd roll the other die to hit it. And he got really, really good. It was technically cheating, but I did a video for that, and I actually referenced that in the video, how it reminded me of him, and I kind of told the story about Michael. And then the people that designed that put Mike in the game. And I was really moved by that. It was really nice of them. They were they made a character or whatever named after him. So good people. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to bring everybody down.
Fucking wage.
It was almost 3 decades ago now. So yes, it is sad. Meaning, what's a weird thing? Not even to go off down another rabbit hole, but I remember when I had some problems, and I went to a doctor, and I mentioned, well, could it be cancer? And he's like, it's not testicular cancer. And I said, well, why? And he's like, because you are not.
I don't have any testicles.
No. He basically said, you are not ages 13 through 22. And he said, and basically, if you get past your early 20s and you don't get testicular cancer, you never will. It's like 0.0001% of all cases. But so it's just a young person's a disease.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. So weird things, and yeah, so, and the reason why is because like I actually got hit in a very tender area while playing softball, and the pain persisted for a long time, and it never went away. And so then I went in to see the doctor about it, and got prescribed some whatever. But yeah, moving on.
My similar story about the testicular cancer scare. It's not a fun thing to go through.
No, not at all.
No, sure not.
Oh, hey, so I mentioned that I had a grievance earlier in the week, and I wanted to actually discuss it. And now Anthony's gone, so I can't actually mention. I wanted him to hear it. But anyway,
he's going to reboot and come back.
Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe his computer exploded. But no, so this isn't
I
really
have a grievance.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I don't. Anthony may did I? I don't know if I did this last week. Why do people put their bags on chairs in airport terminals?
Fuck those people. Fuck those
them.
people so hard.
I swear to God. What?
There's a spot underneath.
What world do you live in that when you're in a place, you think your fucking bag deserves to sit in a chair when it's no chairs for anybody to sit in a busy airport terminal?
Sit next to you. That's why.
What gall do you have to take up a chair with your fucking bag?
I was in the Spain airport last year, and that pissed me off so much because I couldn't find a seat anywhere.
I know you can go up to the person and you say, "Can I sit there?" But why the fuck do I have to do it? Like, why?
I do it, and I find the person
normal
the most intimidated by me, and I ask them, it's just like the person that's going to be bothered the most by me. It's like, so. Can I please sit down next to you? My feet hurt, and I don't think your bag has any feet.
I'm in LAX, right? And I'm looking around, and there's no fucking seats, right? I'm like, oh, there's bag, people, person, bag, right? Like the whole row. Finally, someone gets up, and I take their spot, which is in between two people. Except the two people to my right, they have their bags on their seats. They get up and leave, and they're gone for like a half an hour.
I'll be right back, guys.
Like there was a good full half an hour before the plane took off, and they're gone the whole time. Their bags are sitting there on their seats, and one of the seats was handicapped, and this person was not handicapped.
Should have moved their bag.
Anyway, I'm like, fucking world.
If I were you, I would have.
What I should have said is these bags have been sitting here for more than 20 minutes. Please,
I'm scared.
Yep, I'm scared.
I think there's a bomb in it.
It would have been
fucking bags out of here.
Shut the airport down.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's my grievance. Another grievance with the airport while I'm on it. You know when your group is called, you're supposed to get up and go?
Mm-hmm.
Why does everybody in the whole place get up
on the first
when they start calling?
Yeah, I never do that.
Go on before your group number is called, but let's go block the road for everybody else and block in everybody and block everybody out.
See, I actually wait until all the numbers have been called, and then I get on last because it's like no one's going to take my seat. I mean, what?
I think I know what the reason is. It's the stupid bag checking, right? Because you know when they fill up the overheads, the bags get checked. And by the way, motherfuckers, I check my bag every time because I don't like dealing with the overhead. I have to pay money to do it. These fuckers bring their big ass bags on there, can't get in, and they check them anyway and don't have to pay.
Yeah, that's kind of.
They're circumventing the fee. Ugh.
I actually flew with a guy last year. It was like, oh yeah, they always just put a ticket on it, and I don't have to pay.
It's like I'll just bring my bag for the chance of it getting checked for free. Like I don't care about going to bag check. I'm never in that much of a hurry.
I'm the same way though, Aldi. I always check my
Fuck,
bag
man.
ahead of time, and then I hate hearing that announcement. If you'd like your bag to be checked,
We're over full. We'd
Yeah.
like to make sure if your bag would like to be checked for free, please come see us.
And at one time I actually walked up and
Did
said,
I get my money back then? My bag
asked,
was already checked.
I actually asked him one time out of just for shits and giggles. I knew she was gonna say no, but I'm like, I just paid $25 to get my bag checked. Can you get reimbursement? Oh, I'm sorry, no, we can't.
And all right, third one.
Oh,
What's with the overbooking of planes? And then they end up paying people like
$800.
500, 1,000. Actually, this last one when I was coming back from LA to Dallas, they were offering $800.
Mhm.
Wow.
I'm like, that's a first class ticket.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I need to be on one of those flights.
Yeah, I mean, I needed to get home. I could not, you know, it would have been too much disruptive. I don't need to spend another day in LA.
Mhm.
It's too far away from where Lincoln and Nikki live to come back and pick me up. Oh yeah. Also, free hotel room. Right, free hotel room, $800. Like, why are we paying money to fly on these flights?
Mhm.
That much, you know, like, and when you're going to give away $800,000 of tickets, and
They
it
do
was
all
like
the time,
six.
too.
They were asking for 6 volunteers at $800 a pop.
Yep. They
And
did
then
that
the
on my
price
flight.
goes up, right? Like if nobody does it, then they're like, okay, it's 1,000.
It's like a
Okay,
push your luck.
1,200.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. I can't remember a flight where
Yeah,
they
the
didn't offer
airports.
people to sit down. They've overbooked almost every flight I've been on in the last 6 months.
And apparently they kick off the person with the last booked ticket,
Mm-hmm.
like the most. Yeah, I think I read something where United gave one person $10,000. But it's only, you know, use that for only one ticket, right? You can't like, it's not like you can just keep using that $10,000. It's a $10,000 voucher for the purchase of one ticket.
There's your trip around the world.
Mhm.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, there's your Hawaii or Australia or Tokyo. All right, I got that off my chest.
Feel better?
I'm feeling better.
Mm.
It's not going to change anything. I mean, next time we go, fucking airport.
Airport sucks. I hate traveling by plane.
It's the worst. It used to be great because I traveled when I worked in the 90s. Like when I lived in San Francisco, I had to travel around to work at video game companies. I never felt like this. I always felt really great about flying. It was so easy. I'd show up. I had my timing perfectly for the San Jose airport. I knew exactly how long it would take me to get there, exactly how long it would take me to get through security, get to the gate, 5 minutes. Before the
Thanks,
flight.
Osama.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah. Fucking one guy. Shoes.
For the whole world.
Fucking fake shoe bomb.
I'm still not jaded on flying yet. I've only done it like 15, 20 times, and it's still just glamorous to me. I love the shit out of every aspect of it, pretty much.
Really?
Okay, check back with me in 10 years.
Yeah, no
Maybe
kidding.
20. Maybe 20. You probably.
I was like you,
You're young.
Forrest.
And
Forrest.
I also, whenever I go to a place that has legalized, like I am cloudy as anything. When like flying out of Denver or Vegas or something. It's like, yep. I'm enjoying everything.
He's eating like 8 bags of pretzels when the lady comes down the launch. Just keep them coming, baby. Keep them coming.
You want your pretzels? Do you want? She said no. I'll take them. I'll take her
Give me
pretzels.
those pretzels. Give me the goddamn pretzels. So do you gamble at all in Reno, Pete?
Yeah, my wife wanted me to gamble $50 for her, and then I took 50. I only brought like $100 of gambling money, but I doubled it, and then I quit, and then I spent the rest of it in the arcade. I'm not a huge gambler, but I do like to sit and hit the slots once in a while. So I figured if I'd run out of my $100 and then I'd be done gambling, but then I ended up winning. I got up to like 3 something at one point, but then I cashed out at like 220, and then I took like $80 to the arcade for over the 3 or 4 days that I went there, and spent like $20 each night and just blew it on the arcade, and then I came home with exactly what I brought, so I broke even for the most part, but had a lot of fun doing it.
Cool.
I don't do any serious gambling though.
I played craps.
Mhm.
Walking through the area, the craps tables are pretty cheap. The $5 minimum bet.
Yeah, it didn't look like
it's not like the barest minimum table I've ever seen, but it's pretty. $5. You can make it last a long time with $5. So I see Michael Coe, and why am I drawing a blank?
Did you play Tiny Epic Craps with him?
We played Tiny Epic Craps.
Mm-hmm.
Nate.
You have some little big
So
dice.
it's Nate and Michael, and man, they were. I could hear them when I start. Like I could hear them from like when I was walking up, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, I got to play with these guys. So I put some money in, and Nate. I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's a monster at the craps table, and he is loud, and he is funny, and he is filthy mouthed, right? And I think we're there for like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and Nate is just f-bombing every other word at the top of his lungs, right? And we were having a good time. We were hitting it, and then the pit boss is like, "Sir, you got to stop swearing. We're gonna kick you out otherwise." He's like, "Oh, sorry." And then for the next 15 minutes, he would be good for like 2 minutes and forget, and then an f-bomb would come out, and they were looking at him like, God, they're gonna kick him out. I was like, oh my god, you're gonna get kicked out, Nate. Stop. Finally, the dice come around to him, and he, when he's throwing dice, he's actually kind of quiet because you're just like focused on the dice or whatever. But then it goes to me, and the f-bombs just start flying, and then who is this? The guy from Geek and Sundry, the sideburns. What's his name? Tabletop Day guy. Ivan Van Norman. That guy. Yeah. He comes up and he's like, I'm losing. And he starts putting his money down, and he's about to throw the dice, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna just put it all on one bet. So he bets like about, I think it was like $75, which is kind of a lot for a craps table pass line bet. Throws the dice, hits a 7, wins, doubles his money. He stacks it back up on top of each other, right? Like an all or like double down. Throws another 7, which is another win. $300. He takes off a little, siphons off a little, keeps it on, throws on 11. That's a win. Boom. He just tripled up within 2-3 rolls. It was so great because we were just going insane. And he was like, what the fuck? Like totally crazy. Anyway, so by the end of the night, it was like, then I waited for our dice to all kind of flow around the table, and I took off. But like, I'm just wondering if Nate made it through the night without getting kicked out, because he was just ridiculously over the top. Which I'd never been at a table like that. So.
I'm actually surprised. I've never heard a casino person tell someone they're going to kick them out if they're spending.
For swearing?
Yeah, for swearing.
I think they must have got a complaint.
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
He was really loud. But it made it fun for us. I was loving it because I'm pretty obviously subdued playing. I'm a subdued persona. But,
I'm the same way.
Fun to gamble with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're winning, and we were doing pretty well. So,
well, that always changes the mood a little bit.
Yeah, it changes the mood for sure.
So, has anyone played anything fun?
Played Pirates of the Caribbean Battleship, which was actually pretty damn good.
What's different from it?
There are custom ships, and you get to pick 3 ships each game, and you have 3 different ships you're trying to sink, and the ships have different special abilities. I think if somebody actually did something with the game, it'd be pretty cool. But I mean, it's still a crap game because they only have like 3 different types of ships, but they have like really unique ships in the game. It has a lot of potential, but they still pissed it away because they're Milton Bradley.
Is it a true Battleship game, like Battleship License?
Yeah.
It's a branded Battleship.
It's just based off the Pirates of the Caribbean's license, and it has like these 3 boards up here. You're gonna have 3 different ships. It's a really cool premise, and like the kids I was playing with really liked it, and I liked it. It's just they didn't have enough ships in there. If they would have had like 9 or 10 different types of ships, I think it could have been like a really good game.
Have any of you guys seen the new Mario Kart Gamer?
No.
It's a new Monopoly. Like, you remember the Monopoly Gamer that came out last year with the, and now they've got a Mario Kart version of it. Mario Kart Gamer is, I think, what it's called.
Okay.
It's basically a variant of Monopoly that's based off Mario Kart, and it's got all the little figures of them in the carts. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, I actually heard good things.
I still never went. I think we talked about Monopoly Gamer when it came out, but I didn't quite get around to playing it.
Honestly, Monopoly Gamer felt more like a Mario Kart game than it did Monopoly, so I'm wondering how much further they took it for the Monopoly version.
What else could you add to that?
I don't know. I just know I saw a post on Facebook of someone who had it, and they were talking about it and said it was actually really fun, and it plays in like 30 minutes.
I played Feudum, which is not my kind of game. So
Yep.
I mean,
That's
I
what's
think it would be
weird.
good for other people, but not me. It's just too much conflict. It's a cool Euro economic game with a war game element.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I
I
actually
always
have it on my
just,
shelf to
like,
play.
I just spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time building up my stuff and putting all my stuff out, and okay, it's fun. And then like monster walks in and just like takes over everything. Like, okay, whatever. Fuck this game. It's done. I honestly, I feel a little bad about talking about it because I didn't finish it. But if you like those kind of games, it's pretty cool. There are a lot of neat things in there that I liked. Like you get to be in control of all the guilds. Like someone's the head master or whatever they call it, and you get to do cool stuff with that. But like I said, once you're in that position, someone can just take over your city and be like, okay, now I am in charge, and you lose all the fun stuff. Yeah. The art's cool.
Yeah, I just picked up Stuffed Fables. I haven't opened it up yet, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, that looks fun.
That looks really neat.
Yeah, I got it because I thought it would be maybe my daughter would enjoy it since it's I don't know if she's quite able to play. I haven't really read the rules yet, but by appearance alone, it looked like it'd be something she would enjoy playing.
Yeah, and looks like it's got a ton of content. Like the book is like
that book is thick and
2 inches,
each page is a
inch
different game. So yeah, it sounds like it's just something that would be pretty
and
cool.
it's not a campaign, right? Like each one is its own.
I think it's kind of like 501 almost, except it's not combining stuff. It's just you flip a page, it's a different game, use the same components.
Right.
Flip the
So
next
you don't
page.
have to keep track of all the different like levels and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But I don't know. I haven't opened it up yet. It looked cool and it looked like something I'd probably get my daughter to sit down and play with me. So I'm gonna read the rules on it this weekend probably.
Played Sunset Over Water a couple times the last few days from Pencil First Games.
I haven't heard of that.
It's got really gorgeous artwork. It's more of like a light, simple, gateway-esque kind of sit around and chit-chat game. But I liked it a lot. I think I'm going to keep it in my classroom, play with the kids, going around and just painting pictures and selling pictures. It's okay.
That's cool.
Honestly, the City of Kings is still on my mind.
Really?
Over anything I played. Yeah, I need to play it again.
City of Kings.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that game.
Yeah, it was Kickstarter from, I think, kind of a nobody.
Cooperative adventure game.
But
all right, so hey, did you beat somebody up in the airport then, Scott Alden?
I don't beat anybody up, Lance. I was just talking about how much of a pacifist I am. Talking about feudum, and I hate attacking stuff, and I hate being attacked.
Feudum is like so good.
Well, you counteract my negativity of it,
Yes,
please, because I feel a little like I shouldn't be bad on it because I didn't finish the game.
The economy is so cool in that game, though. I mean, just
No
like
argument there.
how like everything cascades into each other. Oh man, he did such a good job with that. Anyway, so here's my grievance, and that I waited for Anthony to show up for. And this is actually, this isn't controversial or anything like that. This is more of just like how screwed up this world is, kind of grievance kind of thing. So earlier this week, I bring my son to school in the morning, and I drive him. It's like because it's us. We have like a structure to it. We always leave a little before 7:30, and sleeping.
Who is that?
Hey guys, I gotta run real quick. I might be back.
All right.
A little late night
emergency.
action there.
Slight emergency. Yep. Talk to you later.
Anyway, so I just whatever. The whole thing is like we like usually there's like there's almost always on sports radio they have like these couple of jingles and we always sing along to them. Just some standard stuff we talk about. And I drop off my son and we have a standard like I walk him into like the entryway. And I kind of tell him, hey, good luck today, have a good day, just tell him who's picking him up so he knows to look for, just standard stuff. So today, like on Monday, I was doing that. And there were as I was like walking up, there's like this huge commotion going on, like in like the entryway, and like the principal's there, and the principal's this lady. The principal that we had from last year, he left because whatever, politics, whatever. He was a really good principal, and I don't really have any feelings about this lady at all. I mean, she seems like she's nice or whatever, but she's there, and there's like there's like a parent there, who and she's like really mad, and then there's like these three of her kids, and now just so you know, these are Somali immigrants, and they are like, and she is like, the woman is like shaking angry, and you see there's this girl off to the side, and she looks like, you know, it's up to 5th grade, and she was either a 4th or a 5th grader. I have no idea. And so I was just kind of like, and Caleb is like looking over, and I'm looking over. I don't know what's going on, you know, and I'm trying not to like, you know, be a gawker, and I'm just like, hey, Caleb, have a good day. He's like, what's going on? He's like, I said, don't worry about it. Who cares? Doesn't matter to us. Let's just get out of here and let's go. So as I'm sitting there, we're going through our process of telling Caleb, okay, hey, you know, your grandpa picks you up from school today. You know, what kind of after school snack do you want? We're going through the whole thing. We got our plan set up. I give him a hug. In the whole process, I hear basically what happened is this girl rides the bus to school, and she, like, I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason, she started yelling, "Get these N-words off my bus," at these Somali kids. And I was just like, she's like 9. How would she? And all I can say is that it had to be parents, horrible parents, that she learned this from. And I wanted to like find out where she lived and go and like just what kind of and then I'm started, then in my back of my head I'm like, and apparently like she didn't say it once, she was like screaming it at them, and then I realized that like the bus driver is in there as well, and he's like corroborating the story, and I'm just like, what? I'm just wondering what kind of weird breakdown of society occurred that like this occurs. And then I'm like thinking, it's like, is this one of those times when we go in and we just take your children away from you if this is like what you're teaching them, that this is like okay? And yeah, I've always been, it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, that's a weird slippery slope of like, you know, I've had friends who said that like if people are like creationists, like we should go and we should take their children from them because they're teaching them like non-science. And I'm like, well, you really can't just go and take somebody's kids from them because you don't agree with what they're teaching them. But now I'm like, I think we need to go in and take this girl from this family and like, you know, teach her not to be a horrible human being while she still can grow up and not be a horrible human being. And I don't know. So that was my like, wow, the world's really getting shitty moment this week.
You should work with more kids, Lance. You get a couple of those a year.
I just like how I don't
you get parents that just don't care anymore. I mean, it's sad, and it's the kind of thing where you say it and you can't fathom it. Most people can't fathom it because I mean it's your kid. But I've got one of those kids in my class where it's like your mom, she doesn't like you. I don't like you. There's not probably an adult in this world that actually likes you. Like they love you because you're your kid, but yeah, it's messed up, messed up stuff.
Yeah, I just it was like, I mean, I was just, and then the whole time I'm like talking to myself, all right, you have a good day at school today. Remember to put your snow pants on. It's really muddy out. You know, it's just like, and then I you know, and like, you know, and like I'm just aghast that this is like a thing going on over. And I was just like, you know, and I wanted to just go and like, you know, like just slap the crap out of that little girl. And like, cause she looked exactly what you think she'd look like. You know, and I'll leave it at that. I mean, it's just like, and no remorse whatsoever from her, like none. Just like she was just put out the fact that she was getting that she was being like not she couldn't go to class. Just yeah.
We had a kid in my class who got kicked. He finally got kicked out about 7 months ago because we had to warn him, and I had to write him up 4 different times for it. Every time a girl, and my kids are all aged 6 to 12 years old, every time a girl would go anywhere near his crotch, just 2 hands, bam, he would pull them in. And it's so messed up that our hands are so tied. I had to write him up 4 times before we finally kicked him out of the center. And it's just like, and we called CPS, and CPS didn't do a damn thing. It's just, parents, they don't, I don't know. I just, how could you possibly live with knowing your kid is doing something like that?
Lazy.
Yeah.
Didn't want to have kids to begin with, but you know, there's just people sometimes they weren't meant to be parents, but they get situations happen and they have to deal with it, and they just don't maybe choose the best path.
Yeah, I don't know. But that was my moment of like, well, man, you know, they've won. The shitty people have won. You know, just like I just at a complete you didn't even know what to say or do.
The fallout for that is too, and I come at it from the teacher's perspective, is you try your hardest not to dislike the kid because you know it's the parents. You know it's the parents, and it's so hard not to do it. Yeah.
So
Best of the world.
It is. What's his name say? Dennis Leary, stand up, and he was just like he said, yeah, every kid is unhappy. You know why? Because at some point in our lives, kids, you realize that you aren't going to be the starting center fielder for the Boston Red Sox, and then it's all downhill from there.
It's a dog eat dog world, and we're all wearing milk bone underwear.
Life sucks. Get a helmet. Yeah, good stuff though. You know, whenever Aldi has to like run off for those emergencies, is it wrong that I just assume it's because he's getting busy with his wife? Yeah, and good for him.
Emergency is in the boudoir.
And good for him.
He'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is he, Superman? He's been gone forever.
Night, guys. I gotta go to bed.
Oh, you gotta go play more Far Cry 5, you mean?
No, because I've been playing that the whole time.
I know you haven't been saying
He's
anything.
been very quiet. You can tell he's been preoccupied.
I'm listening. I'm
Far
speaking.
Cry 5?
Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5.
I just finished all my outposts in one region, so.
Oh, I got a grievance. Oh, I got a damn grievance.
Oh, go for it, Forrest. I'm going to leave after your grievance. I'll listen to one more grievance before I go to bed, too.
I was super excited about a game called Sea of Thieves that came out for the Xbox.
I've got it, too.
And for 3 hours, I was laughing so hard. I was crying, swashbuckling, having fun with my friend on the Xbox. It's a cooperative pirate game. And then after 3 hours, I realized I've seen everything this game has to offer, and it's a $60 game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, son of a bitch.
Did you see that that basically Sea of Thieves is like a paid for beta of the bigger game that they want to make?
Well, they should have made that game in like 10 months.
Hold on, what is it? What it was a video I saw. Like I forget what it was, but I mean basically like it's going to be incorporated into something else or something like that. I don't know.
Did you see the update, Pete? They put out an update yesterday, 18 gigabytes.
It
I actually was going to
basically-
get on and play with my friends, and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll do this in 12 hours.
Yeah, basically, the update wasn't that big, but in order for the update to take, you had to basically reinstall the entire game again. So
Ugh.
it deleted the game and then reinstalled the game from your hard drive, which is why it took so long.
Yeah, I think even if they come out with amazing content, I think that game's going to slowly die off.
Yeah,
Which sucks, because
I had fun. I mean, I had fun playing, but I had fun playing with a group of friends that I played with. I can't imagine playing that game solo. It would be dreadful because it's just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with my friends, jumping on ships, blowing holes and stuff. And I was like, did it again. And we did it again. And I was like, is there anything else to do? Can I upgrade my gun or this or that? And it's like, no, nothing.
Yeah. By the time they get content for it, it'll be too late.
Man, that's my grievance.
Womp womp. Well, I mean, yeah, there you go. I'm kind of glad it didn't come out for the PlayStation. Otherwise, I might have gotten it.
Yeah, no, it's a Xbox exclusive, so PC and Xbox only. But yeah, it's not worth 60. It's worth 20 maybe. That's probably the value I'd put on it. Any more than that, it's probably a waste.
And so
I concur.
The amazing what is it? The amazing pirate video game remains elusive.
Yep, still the best pirate game I've ever played on computer.
Is what? Oh,
Sid Meier's
Pirates.
Yep.
I'll say this. I do think that the Assassin's Creed pirate one was pretty awesome. That was actually pretty fun to play.
Best pirate game ever right there. Battleship Command, Pirates of the Caribbean. Talked about it a little bit earlier.
Okay.
You missed it. It's actually, it had the potential to be a really good game, but it's not. It sucks.
So today UPS showed up, and I was just like, they were like, oh, and there were like 2 UPS packages, and I was just kind of like, well, what's all this then, and just like I didn't really know what was going on, and so it was, I backed the game Legendary Creatures that was created by Pencil First Games, and then Eduardo Baroff, the guy that designed the game, apparently he decided he'd send me one because he's my friend. He decided, so I got 2 of them, and it's just kind of like, so like Normal Fulfillment sent me one, and then he was like, oh, and I'm gonna send Lance one. So I was like, so I got 2 copies of the game. I was just kind of like, so I was like, if he had known there was 2, he would have put them both in one box. So no, I got 2 copies, which is dumb, right? I mean, I'm not complaining about it. It's cool that I got the game, but I was just kind of like, well, whatever. And he knew I backed it too, because he actually he actually contacted me after he saw my name listed on the backers, and he said, you didn't have to back my game. I would have sent you one. I was like, I wanted to support you, and it looked kind of cool, so I backed the game. Because I didn't want to assume that he was going to send me one, and I also didn't want to he's a nice guy, and I wanted to back his Kickstarter. So, so he knew. I don't know. I thought that was weird. Is it me, or I always remember weird things? If somebody I remember when people ask me for review copies. I remember the games that I send out, and it's just like, am I the only person who remembers these things? Because people will send me a review copy of something, and then they'll contact me 2 weeks later. It's like, oh, hey, did you want a copy of this? It's like, you just sent me one.
Yeah, I've gotten that too. I think it's just because there's so many people reviewing, man.
But why do I remember? I don't know. I just might be weird. Something wrong with me or something. I don't know.
There is.
Yep, I agree.
Anthony, tell me something funny.
Can't think of anything.
Can I get a Joyce duet random fact?
Yeah, Joyce, do it. So I read the Gaslands rules. They're very, very simplified Car Wars, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, it's like Car Wars if you like did the time lapse.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And plus, it's like like I said, it's pretty simplified, and it's very what's I'm looking for here?
Simplified.
Well, no, I mean, like Car Wars, when we play it, you'd spend like 2 hours designing your car, and then you'd last 15 minutes and you get blown up. So like the good thing I can see about Gaslands is that like bam, you have your car. It's just like it's done. It doesn't take long to like create the thing that you're going to be driving. I mean, I guess theoretically you can paint a Hot Wheels car, but you don't even have to paint the Hot Wheels car. You just put the Hot Wheels car on the table and you go for it and have fun with it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to play it this weekend if I can get some people over to my house. And just give it a whirl. Just break out some of my son's Hot Wheels cars and just play with them.
My favorite rule in the entire game is, well, if anyone's played X-Wing, you set your dial and you wanted to go left and you accidentally set it for going right.
I know what you're going to say, but yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
So in Gaslands, when it's your turn, you announce which maneuver template you're going to use, and you pick it up, and if it's the wrong one, you have to use it. And if you can't, and also if you can't use it, because only certain things can work in certain gears that you're in. So if, say, you're in third gear and you pick up something that does not work in third gear, the person who's next in turn order gets to choose which template you have to use.
Yeah.
So they can basically careen you right into a wall, which is awesome.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. I know there was yeah. So I thought that was I like that. It was just, and it sounds like it'll play very fast, which is something that Car Wars would get bogged down a lot.
Oh, last time I played Car Wars, the guy who was hosting game day at his house wanted to play, and we were playing for a couple of hours, and then literally he got up and went to the kitchen to get something. And I turned to the guy who was on my team and I said, just blow the friggin' cars up. He's like, what, theirs? I'm like, no, ours. Let's just end this thing.
I've had that in Munchkin before where people have done that.
Oh, but Car Wars is literally, like, each turn is like, it takes 15 minutes to go through the whole thing. And it's literally like 2 seconds of actual time.
Is it a fun game though? I have that one on my shelf. I've never actually played it. The rules just scared the shit out of me.
Is it fun? I really don't like Car Wars.
Car Wars is a throwback. I mean, you got to remember this was created in like the early 80s. The best part about Car Wars is the designing your car, because it is rather involved. It's because I mean you pick like the chassis, you pick the suspension, you pick the tires, and then like each car has a certain amount of space and a certain amount of weight that you can put into it, and so like you get to pick the weapons that you want. So like basically like we would always play, they were called Division 5, Division 10, Division 15. That's whatever the number was. It was that times 1,000 was the amount of money that you had to build your car. So if you had a Division 15, you got 15 grand to make your car, and so then you would put in whatever, and so everybody would like kind of like everybody had their own book, and they'd be like writing out everything and designing their car with whatever, and then they'd show up and they would and you'd play. And the whole thing is that it's the game itself is old. I mean, like that's the best way to put it. It is like everything went over a course of like it was like it's a second, and in a second has 10 phases. And so depending on how fast you'd go, you would move. The faster you went, the more you would move during a second. And then like in any time during that second, you could shoot at one point, like you can shoot your gun. And so you just drive this little tiny counter, this little like 1 inch by ½ inch counter, and you'd move it around on this board. You had this little turn template thing that you'd use, much like you have for any of the games that now that like have templates for moves and stuff like that. But it was just a key. It was like a template key that you had, and you would use it to push your car around this map, and then you just shoot at each other. The problem is that like you could make cars that had lots and lots of armor, or like there was, because it was so free reign, like you would have like what almost always would happen in like arenas is that like everybody would race to fight, and then there would always be one person that couldn't get there fast because their car was slow or they just didn't enter in, and so they were apart from the battle. And so like 4 people would just sit there and blow each other up for like the first like 5-6 rounds of the game, and then all of a sudden like 3 of those 4 cars are dead, and 1 car is left and has no armor. And here comes this little slow guy. Here I come, you know. And he finally shows up.
Like the turtle in the cartoon.
Yeah, basically, here I come, and even though I've got like 1 machine gun, you've got no armor, and I'll just ping, ping, and then eventually they just win. But I mean, it wasn't about that. I mean, it wasn't about winning. It was more about like the weird, funny stories. I mean, I still remember one time, like, when I was like the last car alive, but there was still somebody had jumped out of their car and was still like it was still alive, right? And so I had to kill that person, and so I was trying to chase him down, and he actually, like, I tried to run him over, and you could roll to like jump on top of a car, and he actually made it. And so he's on top of my car, and he's actually like shooting his like little machine gun he's got in his hand, this little like, you know, like machine pistol. He's shooting it into the roof of my car. Well, the thing about Car Wars is you can't target a roof or the underbody. And so I had almost no armor on the top or the bottom of the car. And so he was sitting there and just like, and like we literally, like, if I let him keep shooting, I was going to die. So I had like 1 grenade. So like basically my guy like rolled down the window, put the grenade on top of the car, rolled the window back up, and blew the guy up, you know. And I was like, I always like that image of like, just put it on there, roll the window back up, car shakes for a moment, I see a dead body flump to the ground, and I won. Yeah, but I mean, it's stuff like that. Like I played that when I was like 17, but I remember that moment of playing that game. So Car Wars did not age well, and they've been talking ever since like the Ogre Kickstarter. Steve Jackson Games has been talking about doing a redo of Car Wars, like a Car Wars like 7th edition or 8th edition.
Yeah, and they were supposed to redo it with templates so you can play it in any scale that you could possibly play it in.
Yeah, and it's just it's in limbo. Like nobody knows what's going on with it.
I'm not sure, but I got to get to bed, guys. Good night. I will see you all next week.
Good night, Pete. Here.
Bye, Pete.
Bye.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know. 6th edition, says Kabuki Kid. Well, thank you. I appreciate you telling me that. Trying to think of anything else new that's going on. I realize I'm late to the party with my annoyance on this, but the Games Workshop model for like how they handle releases and new things annoys me. But that's not really new or anything like that. Anybody who's been into the hobby for a while knows that like Games Workshop apparently like does crazy things and nobody really knows why they do them, but they can because they're like the big guy on the block and they can do whatever they want.
Well, I have a Games Workshop thing I don't like now that I play Games Workshop games.
You're talking about Shadespire, or what are you playing now?
No, I'm playing Necromunda.
Oh, okay.
But
go ahead.
Here's my thing. I don't know if this is in other games that they have. So they come out with stuff, for these games, but they don't make it.
What do you mean?
It's made by a third party.
You're talking about Forge World stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, Forge World is weird.
And they're expensive as well.
They are expensive as heck, but they are, they're like legitimate things, but they aren't things, if that makes sense.
They're not official Games Workshop products, but they're official Games Workshop.
Yeah, so they have the stats and they have everything, so you can use them in your whatever they're for, but they are not technically a Games Workshop model. So,
but they're sanctioned by Games Workshop.
Yes, there's like a so there is a I suppose there's some Necromunda armies or whatever that.
So here's the thing. So for Necromunda, they had the two factions the two gangs that came in the base box, and you can also buy them in their own separate boxes. And then a third gang came out, but now they have bounty hunters and mercenaries, but you can only get them on Forge World, which fine, you don't need those in the game. But the other thing is they came out with weapon packs for the first two gangs. And you can only get them from Forge World. And there's 3 different packs, and they're not that big, what comes in each pack, for each of the gangs, and they're 18 Great British pounds each. That's like, what, $22? So $66 to buy all the weapons assortments, plus another $40 for a box of just the gang figures.
Yep.
It's just,
No, it's ridiculous.
And you can only buy it from Forge World, from their website.
The best thing is that you can get fairly commonly they will have Forge World models at at the Games Workshop booths at like conventions. So like if you go to like Origins, like there's some like Forge World I can't even think Blood Bowl characters that but you can only get them like through Forge World, or if you go to like I saw that they had them for sale at Origins last year at the Games Workshop booth. There's a monster called the Morngul that is just it's just such an awesome it's for the undead, and the stats on it and everything are super awesome, and it's just this huge basically this huge spirit that rips people apart, and they you can only get it through Forge World, and it's just in it, but nobody obviously like you don't want to spend like the $100 to get it delivered to you. The Seraphon army there's a thing called the Dread Saurian, which is basically a giant T-Rex. That's like $200 if you want one.
Yeah. The other thing I don't understand about Games Workshop is how they do their pricing.
They price it exactly what they think you'll pay for it.
No. This is what I'm talking about. So my son plays Pokemon at the local game store. So I go and I sit there and I just look at the stuff on the shelves and everything. So I'm going through like the Warhammer 40K stuff, and like this box has 10 minis in it, and it's $50. Okay, the box next to it has 4 minis in it, and it's $50. And there's another box that has like 8 minis in it, and it's $35. And this is the MSRP price. This is not even the the store discounting it for whatever reason. I don't understand. Like why this is 3 figures and it's $50, and this one has 10 and it's $50.
I think it's more of I think, in my opinion, and I don't know for sure if this is what it is, but it's a combination of the size of the models you're getting, and it's also like the worth that those particular models have when it comes to like fielding them. you know, on the in the game. So it's one of those things where it'll increase like 3 Skaven Stormfiend are like these larger rats that have like they have a missile weapon. They have basically they have a warpstone gauntlet or warpstone like fist that they can use as a mid-range thing, and then they have a weapon in the other one. So they're kind of like, you get 3 of them. That's a battle line, and they're shock troops. And like those 3 will run you $55, whereas you can pick up like a box of 20 clan rats, which are like the little tiny Skaven, and there's 20 of them in there, and that one's 35. So one, you know, like they're smaller, but also like they're like a nothing. They're like just there to suck up damage, basically to like as far as in the battles themselves, you send those out there just basically to hold like a territory, you know, because a lot of the battles will be control these points on the battlefield. So you send these 20 rat guys, and they just go and sit on a spot and control it, because it's number of models within a certain range. So you have like these guys basically just sitting there, and they're like just basically a tar pit of units that just, like, if somebody wants to go there and try to fight it, it's going to take them a while to do it. And while they're fighting that, you send in other units to kind of clean up the real mobile ones. So, but that isn't really worthwhile. But those Skaven Stormfiend, they're like your shock troops. They do a lot of damage. They take a lot of damage to take out. And, you know, so people want those in their army as opposed to like the clan rats, because clan rats are boring. But giant rat ogres with warpstone guns and big giant swords, you know, those are cool. You know, so I mean, they know exactly what they're doing.
It's just a weird thing. Like, I was looking at the Age of Sigmar. That's what you play, right?
Yes, sir.
The big white boxes. So I looked at those, and like there's varying model counts in all the starter boxes, but they were all the same price.
Yeah,
they were all $85. Some of them had like 25 models. Some of them had like 30. Some had like 18.
And the rule of thumb on those is they're trying to give you about 600 to 800 points of models. So like, you'll buy that, and then you can buy like a couple other things, and you have your first 1,000 points. So you can start, you know, running a model. You can start running a battle. And depending upon the Beastclaw Raiders are like those big giant ogres on those giant mounts, right? And like, I think the Beastclaw Raiders box is 4 models total. It's like you get this one that's, you basically get one ogre that sits on top of this giant mammoth, and then you have 3 other ogres who are riding these giant polar bear creatures. But those models alone are like, you know, all of those models alone are like 800 points, because they're just huge, tough models. So I don't know. It's like I said, Games Workshop is sitting on a pile of money for a reason. They know exactly how much people are willing to pay for these things.
Yeah, so. I guess. And I'm avoiding getting into any other of their games. It's like Necromunda I'm fine with. $40, I get the box, the army box.
I'm sorry, they get the Beastclaw Raiders has 5 models, not 4.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, it's they're fun, man, and it's just like I enjoy. They're just fun to paint, and they're fun to create, and I don't know. The Necromunda stuff looks pretty cool, though.
I actually am enjoying the like the terrain and scenery building stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, my thing is, I get annoyed because it's like, there's all these armies in Sigmar that are order. Like, so there's chaos, destruction, why can't I think of the third one? Chaos, death, chaos, destruction, and order. And order, like, gets all the models. They get all the releases. They get like tons and tons and tons of stuff. Whereas like Like the other ones, just they're limping along. Like the Death Armies haven't had a like new like set of models. They got one new model this year, and everybody lost their crap. They were just like, we actually got a brand new model. Like they hadn't had a new model, and actually, and a big chunk of their models were like these things called the Tomb Kings, which were basically like Egyptian mummies, undead, that kind of thing. They got removed from the game. They became models that were no longer, you can no longer field them.
But
so
isn't that the same kind of thing though in 40K? Like there's like 9,000 different boxes of Space Marine stuffs in the stores, and like some of the other ones is like 3.
Well, and what a lot of that is that it's because Space Marines are easy to paint. I mean, because like you don't have to paint a face. You don't. It's just like you can paint an army of Space Marines in in an evening if you're not really worried about it. You slap on the base color. So these are gonna be green Space Marines. You slap a green color on them. You slap on a shade, and then you color in their gun, and you're done. And you could do that for your 15 Space Marines in an evening. So that's why people like that, and they look good. I mean, and you can do it, and they look good because the minis themselves are so detailed, so well detailed that like as long as you just kind of basically fill in the blanks, so to speak, you can paint a pretty good mini and be a hack, the entire time. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, 40K is just a whole other animal.
Yeah,
I don't.
And my problem with games like that is I never want to play them competitively, and so I play what I think looks cool. Like I look at them all the time when I'm in the store, and like the Space Wolves.
Yeah, they look cool, don't they?
They look cool. They're kind of like the Space Marines. I equate them to like the biker guys who hang out in the bar, who are all like Vietnam vets.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate.
Like they're a little older, they're a little grizzled, they're a little, but you know what? They're still soldiers,
and they always lose. Like they aren't a good army. Like I've talked to people that are huge into 40K, and they just basically talk about how, like most big tournaments, like people they call it math hammer, where they just kind of like they figure out which models to take for like their 2,000 point army, which is usually how those battles work. And it's just kind of like, okay, well, we're gonna just math hammer this out. And it's just, and so eventually what happens is that the big tournaments, like everybody figures out what the best possible army is. And then so usually like the top 3 or 4 like finalists that battle out, it's just their armies are exactly the same. And so then it just comes down to who rolls the best over the next like 2 hours when they do their battles. Because it's like, and we're all Eldar Primarchs, and we all have the same loadouts for all of our things because we've all gone onto every single website and read exactly what we have. And I think that's lame. Like you said, you build what's fun. There's a guy that he's a super, super nice guy, but he's basically made this Demons of Tzeentch Sigmar army that's pretty much unbeatable. It's just ridiculous. Like he's just math hammered it out, like as far as all the different spell casting and everything that he can do, that just basically makes his army like it will just destroy anything that it faces. And it's just kind of like, yeah, he's like, hey, you should come to the store. We should have a battle. I was like, I don't really want to play you. And he's like, why? I was like, well, because we fought like 3 times and you've won every time. Just wipe the floor with me. Why would I want to come and play again? It's just like, oh, it's like, he's like, oh, just like, yeah, play something different. Put your Tzeentch army away and put something else together and like do something different. But I don't know. As with everything, people play it for different reasons.
Yeah, so. I mean, and that's the whole thing. Why I'd like to get the weapon packs. Because I basically built all 3 of the gangs the way they tell you out of the box. So they're all basic. You know, and I'm not playing any tournament or anything, so I don't need to follow the "what you see is what you get" rules necessarily with them. But
Yeah.
I like building the models, and you know, the box of the gang, you know, for the bodies and the heads and whatnot, and the arms and the guns that come with it, it's $40 for 10 models. You know, that's a hey, you know what? I don't want to go buy a board game. I want to go buy another Orlock box, build some more models, and change the arms and the heads around, kind of thing.
I don't know. Like I said, it's fun, right? So, and that's the whole point. And but there's certain people, like I said, I just won't. I just don't play. I mean, there's like that guy. He's super super nice, so I will play against him because he's like super cool, and he always takes a moment to teach my daughter and and help that out and stuff like that. So I appreciate that about him a great deal. But there's other guys at the Warhammer store that no way on earth am I going to subject myself to the excruciating pain that would be to listen to you put your army out and everything else. I can't subject myself to that because they drive me crazy.
See, I don't understand that whole mentality because at that point it's not fun anymore. It's procedural.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, what does it really matter that you're winning? You're not playing for money.
Yeah.
You're not on the Warhammer World Tour, you know, professional Warhammer player. Does it really matter? Like you have no stories to tell from any of those games. That's the fun part about playing Necromunda for me, and even playing Gaslands now. It's just funny. This is a story you make up and things. We were playing Necromunda at the Conclave, that thing we've run, and I had a guy that I literally shot him off a building. He hit the railing, went over the end, fell down like the equivalent of like 2 stories, and survived. Got up, and then literally every single time he got hit, he survived, and then he died in the most bizarre, stupid way possible. And it was funny. But sit there and go, okay, well, this guy does this and this and this and this and that. That's friggin' not fun. Winning is not that important.
Why do you think I'd rather play D&D than anything else? Because D&D has a story, and you don't really win, right? I mean, it's just like if you win, that means it's over. So you don't really win. You know, it's like, oh, we defeated all the evil. No, well, now I'm bored. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just yeah. So, but that's why I like 40K and I like I mean, not 40K. I like Sigmar. I think it's a way for my daughter and I to chill out and paint and talk and just kind of have a good time. Though my thing is that I get about halfway done with an army, and then another army shows up that I'm interested in, and then I get about halfway done with that army, and then another army shows up, and I need to just stop and finish the one I'm working on.
That's why I picked Necromunda. I like the whole concept of it, but the fact that it's literally 10 models come out at a time, and one comes out every quarter, and at some point they're going to run out of gangs.
Yeah.
It's okay. See, like 40K, you can never own everything. You'd have to figure out what you're going to play, and that's it. You're playing that. But like with this, I will own one 10-figure gang of every gang that come out. You know, and say, oh, okay, you want to play? I'll play this time. I'll play with the Orlocks this time. I'll play with the Goliath this time. I'll play with the Asher this time.
Yeah.
So.
You know, Shadespire is a really good game. If you haven't played
it, Shadespire was like close to getting on the list. My thing with Shadespire is it's played on a board, And I like I said, I like the actual like, oh, look, I'm gonna make a piece of terrain out of this like electrical junction box and some rollers from the dollar store, and I like that part. That part is actually fun.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, but when I make a when I paint a model, the most fun part for me is the base. For whatever reason, I like the total creative aspect of the base, where I can just kind of
do you flock? Do you lichen? Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, just like, yeah, putting a flock, or like there's tons of things you can do that can spruce it up, and like you can get a bottle of the Vallejo still water, and so like the epoxy thing, that basically the stuff that when it dries it looks like shiny water.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can get stuff like that, and just like so I made for the bases for like a lot of my Nurgle demons, like I use that and use some like just fluorescent green and yellow paint that like I poured into it like after it started settling, so it looks like it's basically just like day glow swamp water, so it just kind of looks like more I don't know, like glowing toxicity or whatever for the demons of rot and mucus. So that's the stuff that I like. I like the creativity of it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get bored of it eventually. But I don't know. Right now it's kind of my jam. That and role playing games. Reading tons and tons of books on role playing games. Just because I like to read that stuff.
And I know I messaged you, but since we talked about it on the show last week, Airbrush.
Yeah.
It's pretty good for what it is.
Okay.
It's it's not fine detail on it, but for doing things like shading and on bigger priming, not having to go outside.
Yeah.
With prime, it's awesome.
What kind of paint do you use with it?
You can use anything with it as long as you thin it down. I'm actually getting some of the Vallejo Air stuff.
Yeah.
But it'll take pretty much anything as long as you water it down.
I'll take a look at that.
So you have to play around and try to figure out things. And the thing that's weird is that it's not even like you can't even say like, oh, this brand of paint, I'm gonna have to put this much stuff in to thin it out. It even changes based on the color and the type of paint. But
you just thin it down with water, or what do you use for thin it down?
There's different things you can do. I use some Flow Aid.
Gotcha.
In it. And you can use something. You can put a little bit of water in it. They have airbrush, like an airbrush specific kind of Flow Aid thing, which is pretty good.
How loud is the compressor? Super loud or anything like that?
It's not super loud. I mean, it's not quiet, but it's not super loud. And the thing that's good about it is the compressor itself is decent to the point where if you went and bought yourself a better air gun later, you could use it.
Maybe.
So like I bought it for three main things. One, painting foam, because you can't spray paint it. So with building boards, you can't spray paint foam. Priming, being able to prime it when it's cold outside, and for doing like weathering techniques with it on like the Gasland cars and on scenery and stuff. It's not gonna. You can't. The guns that come with it are not good enough to do miniatures, unless it's a very large miniature. But
Yeah, but I got it more for the terrain stuff.
Yeah, I'll probably get it. I have it saved in my old eBay cart. Next time I get my eBay coupon, I'll probably pick one up and give it a whirl. There's some of the larger. It's just I don't want to get it and then never use it. That's my big thing.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of the things. If for priming or doing like a base coat, like you said, you're doing like a whole army of like skeletons or whatever, you just like basically prime them, let the primer dry, and then do your base coat. If you were doing Space Marines, it would be perfect. You could just do like that Space Marine blue all over the place, and then just go back and do your detail work. But
yeah. No, I kind of have realized now, like I've been working on my ghoul army, or like the flesh eaters. Like the flesh eater courts is what they're called in Sigmar. But I've been working on my ghoul army, and one thing I've learned is that I just have to give up on trying to make everything look nice. So like when you're having like armies of like 20 ghouls in a group, it's just like, all right, so like, and I was talking about that, and like, this guy at the Warhammer store who he's kind of a d-bag, but he actually is like I mean, he's just one of those guys that's his whole life, and like is Warhammer, and that he's at that store like every single day. I don't know if he works, but no wife, no kids, late 30s, just whatever money he makes, his fun money is spent on Warhammer. But I was talking about how like I was taking some time with that, and he was just like, he's like, you just need to go and grab it, and he said just pick a base color, and make sure it's like a primer, and just prime all that base color, and then just airbrush the heck out of, like, pick one color to airbrush, pick another color airbrush, call it a day, and just because what do you care if they look amazing? They're going to be dead. Like all these little guys, and they're there just to die anyway. He's like, you can't even like worry about it. If they got a weapon, take a few moments to color the weapon in like the steel color, and then just let it dry. And he's like, then your army will at least be done, and you can move on to something else. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Instead of like, oh, I got to make sure, paint this little I dot and then I, because he said nobody's going to look at that. Nobody's going to care. So just do it and be done.
Yeah,
I was like,
I hate most people who paint eyes.
What?
I hate most miniatures when people paint the eyes.
Why?
Because it looks like they're surprised.
Well, yeah, they're always like, just like, yeah. I mean, that's why I said like the armies people like are the ones that have helmets over the faces. Yeah, because they don't have to worry about it.
I just do the wash over them. Let them have that just that shadow dark in their eye slot. That's fine with me.
Yeah. Oh, look, the great and mighty Joel Eddy is here in the chat room. Never mind the fact that he could actually join us, since like the link is in the Facebook group that he's part of. But yeah. But he's not paying any attention to us, so that's fine. Strangely, Joel Eddy is actually coming to town in late April, and I bought tickets. My wife and I are going to go see him do stand-up.
That ain't right. I thought you didn't like him.
I do not, but my wife does, so I bought us tickets.
He's going to endure it.
Yes.
It's like I endured Cirque du Soleil with my wife.
So.
Wow. I hate the rain on the parade, but I have to drive to Michigan in the morning.
Oh, well, that sounds horrible. Why are you into Michigan?
See my mom.
Oh, aren't you a good son?
I'm gonna go to mom's for Easter. So
Yeah, we had so many snow days that the kids don't get any time off. They subsume the snow days, so they're gonna be like going to we don't get any, but just fine. We aren't gonna go anywhere. We have an Easter egg hunt, and I'm not gonna. Since April Fool's Day, I'm not gonna hide any Easter eggs, and I'm just gonna let my 2 kids and their cousins run around our backyard for naught and not find a single Easter egg. And then when they come in, there'll just be a big giant pile of Easter eggs in the on the kitchen table.
Real cocksucker.
Well, it's April Fool's Day. I can't let. When is this going to happen again? I'm not. When am I going to get this chance again? This will be amazing. So, oh, yeah. So there you go. Well, if you're going to take off, I'm not going to. It's almost midnight, so I suppose we can roll on out of here. Thanks as always, everybody, for tuning in. Nice of you to pop in there, Joel, at the very end. I don't know. Go to bed, everybody. And let me think here. Anything cool that I got to mention from TMG that's coming up? Like I said, if you were waiting on the reprint for Orleans or Yokohama, they will be in stores very, very soon. The most recent expansion for Eminent Domain is available right now. Eminent Domain Oblivion is out there, so you can go and snag that. And then, what was the other thing?
Flow of History starts shipping next week.
Oh yeah, Flow of History. Well, actually, it should. Some of it I think is getting out the door now. So, it's quite possible you will have your deluxe copy. I'm waiting. I'm looking forward to my deluxe copy. I want to get it. So you'll get them. But there you go. So, cool. Well, Anthony, you drive safely off to Michigan. Enjoy your holiday with your wonderful family.
Well, thank you. You enjoy yours.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Barry, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in as always. And then we will we'll see you back here next week. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.